Welcome, everybody. You are all invited to the World Enlightenment 2021 event on December 24th, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are uniting as one to call down divine enlightenment over the earth and all life forms. So join us for 5 minutes or the full hour for this worldwide event online in the comfort of your own home. Tune in live to uprntalkradio.com or the UFRO Paranormal Radio YouTube channel. Or you can go to our website and our forum site, worldenlightenment2021.org. That's WORLDENLIGHTENMENT 2021.org for more information on this World Enlightenment 2021 event on December 24th, 5 to 6 p.m. We are all coming together in harmony. So let light unite. Think Quantum Leap World Enlightenment now.
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great evening, great afternoon, great morning, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet. You know, I know the show is worldwide, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in for the weird hours of the day that y'all are listening to this show or starting to listen to this show. I know it's kind of strange for some people early in the morning, in the afternoon. So right now in London, what is it? It is about 5 a.m. I think in Sydney it is like right around midday or something like that. So it's just weird. And, you know, of course, Sydney's on another day. It's Saturday for them. They're time travelers. Before anybody writes to me, it's a joke. But it is interesting how our audience is all over the place. And it's weird lately how much inroads we've been making into Russia, China, India. It's a strange thing to watch throughout the Middle East. I mean, we have listeners throughout the entire Middle East. It's funny. We were making a joke because we have 5 listeners in North Korea. I guess I shouldn't say anything. I'll probably get somebody killed, but it's 5. Yeah, 5. But in Iran's capital city, we have 36,000. Yes, no, we're not starting any of these riots over there before it gets crazy. But it's still interesting to see how it lays out. So anyway, I hope everyone's having a great time, whatever time in the world zone you happen, whatever time zone you live in. Don't forget, coming up this weekend for Americans, and Canadians, we will be zipping back an hour. So we'll all get to sleep an extra hour. Ooh, sounds good. Why can't we just pick a time and leave it there? I know why we did this way back in the day because of World War One, but you know it's time, and to give the farmers more time. But it's time to move on. Farmers have big tractors with big lights all over them. They don't really need our help with the times anymore. So I think it's time to move on. Clara, to the what you see in the window. Yeah, we're gonna start out something light tonight, something easy, something not too hard. It's we're gonna start out with the 25. Yeah. Oh, hey, Jay joined us. Hey, Jay, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
None, just getting started, just playing out some commercials, getting things rolling up, chit chatting a little bit. I was doing the top 25 unfriendliest states before we got into any of our crazy politician friends in the world.
Oh, wow. 25 is the worst unfriendliest or the friendliest?
This is the 25 worst, or the 25 unfriendliest states. So Nevada, come on, y'all are like Party City. Y'all made 25th, so you made the list of unfriendly states. Now, I've been to Nevada on several occasions. Nobody's ever been unfriendly to me. Matter of fact, sometimes they've been too friendly.
Yeah.
Back
you
on
go to the
up,
wrong
baby.
county and
Yeah, especially so Vegas, by the way, just legalized. We're not going to talk about that for another show. But well, if you don't know, we're talking about prostitution. It's legal now in Vegas. It used to be only in counties under 200,000. Don't ask me how I know that. I just do. And but now it's in counties over there. I'm married, people, 39 years. Don't even give me no shit about it. Still, before y'all get weird. So so of course Nevada, 25th. I mean, Nevada, I'm still confused how you got on this 50 states and you made the list. And I can think of states way more unfriendly news. So let's see, where is this little slideshowy thing yet? So we're gonna be West Virginia.
What?
Well, yeah, okay. I can understand West Virginia if you're not white and you're not a cracker. So
Yeah.
I fit right in West Virginia. They love me up there. I got a lot of friends in West Virginia. I have a good time. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you ever drive to DC, going through West Virginia, it will take you out your way about 3 hours. But if you go in the springtime, you will see some of the most beautiful scenery, spring or fall. It is just stunning ride through there. It's much prettier than going through Virginia. All you see is blue stuff in Virginia, but I'm just teasing. Apparently, it's getting redder.
Not so much because McGovern's out.
I was going to say that's changed a little colors now, but no. But West Virginia is a beautiful state. I didn't know y'all was so friendly. I have had some of my friends, especially my friends in mixed marriages, tell me, well, Joe, it's not the best place to be. I can understand that. It's like middle of Mississippi. See, if you're in Mississippi Gulf Coast, they take everything down here. They love everybody. Mm-hmm. You get up about the middle of the state up, you better not even stop if you're not from the county that it's in. They unfriendly about that. It's let's see what we got next. Maryland. Oh, I can agree with that. No, Maryland, they're snotty, rotten, bitchy. And you know why? It's because all the fucking traffic they got. They got so much traffic.
Well, that's true. I grew up in Maryland. But
that's the only reason.
Just like West Virginia, it's a beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place.
But the people there, they have this. I grew up in a city in between these two cities, Rockville and Potomac, and all the rich people live in Potomac. And if you don't live in Potomac, they perceive you, even if you might make more than them, they perceive you as being less than them because they think they're worth more than you money wise. So I call it the Potomac attitude. So that's true. Yeah, Montgomery County is a not so friendly place.
Yeah, and Maryland has a couple of cities that we won't talk about that have been having crime issues of late. A friend of mine the other day, just tells me about Seattle, right? And how beautiful. I said, yeah, that was 5 years ago, dude. I said, Seattle's a shithole now. I said, they're constantly having riots in the streets. They took over 14 blocks. I said, you couldn't pay me money to live in Seattle. I said, I always wanted to live there, but not now. I said, it makes Chicago look safe. And they were like, what? I'm telling y'all, man, it's not what you think it is anymore.
Well, Seattle also has one of the highest rates of suicide in the country as well.
Yeah, they had a lot of vets go there. A lot of Vietnam vets, but I also heard a lot of Desert Storm vets went there. So their rudeness factor is 42.9.
Wow.
Rudest city is Baltimore. Y'all could have told you that.
That's true. That's true.
Told you that. Yeah. And I think some of these big cities are getting, Connecticut? Come on. What? Connecticut?
No, that can't be right.
So rudeness factor is 43. Rudest city is Hartford. I haven't been to Hartford, so I can't speak on that particular thing. I have been in Connecticut, but not in Hartford. And actually, I went through Connecticut at like 95.
Yeah.
Going through.
The state's only this big, so you can drive through it in like 20 minutes.
I think it took us 35 to get where we were going. We were just cutting across.
Yeah.
I was actually coming up from Rhode Island.
I went to school up there, but I never had any problem. It was the school I went to was University of Bridgeport. It was right on the river, right on the water. And then the right behind my dorm was the P.T. Barnum Park. And at night, there were gunshots sometimes because there was a crime and drug element in the city back then. This is in the 90s, so.
You can tell these whole homes are older because they got window units.
Yeah.
A lot of older homes, it's easier to install window units than it is central air.
That's what I got.
It's cheaper and it's way the hell easier. See, in New Orleans, we tell people all the time because sometimes we want to install these pump systems. That's fine, but you're going to spend a lot of money. It's not going to work as good as central air does. And putting central air in a house with thin little, it's just almost impossible to do unless you build, fur downs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's just not cost effective. What I don't understand is why Vermont and Connecticut aren't one state. I'm confused why they took the little states and splits. I mean, even together, they would still be the smallest state in the union. Mm-hmm. It maybe, I don't know. We'd have to check with Hawaii, but they'd be kind of small. So,
I think
what do y'all think is? I know Rhode Island is a tiny little place. Who's next, people? I mean, Jesus, they got some Arizona. Yeah, you know what? People in Phoenix are rude. I hate to tell y'all rude out there in Phoenix. Now, Sedona, they're nice as can be out there. A couple other places I've been in Arizona, they're nice as can be out there. Phoenix, you some rude SOBs, man. Oh my God. Yeah.
My parents were at Sedona at one point. It was a nice place, but it's just there's no trees. I felt exposed. I didn't like it.
I know. Too much desert's not good for the soul.
Yeah, I agree.
I know you desert rats would say that it is, but I'm just telling you, it's really not. Y'all get hypnotized by extraterrestrials.
The whole time I was in Arizona, I felt like I was going to get grabbed by some giant bird and flown away to his nest and fed to his babies.
I know. Well, they got giant condors out in California. You never know when they were passing over. Rudeness score 44. Rudest cities, Phoenix. See, we knew who was rude out there.
You called that one.
Okay, South Dakota.
Never been.
I'm gonna tell you why South Dakota is rude because they don't want anybody from any other state in their freaking state. It's kind of like up in Mississippi. They don't want you there. Don't come there.
Yeah.
It's like you might as well be an alien foreigner. See, when they see somebody with an out of state plate, they think illegal alien. I'm not shitting y'all. That's what they think up there. Y'all don't have to take my word for it. Plus, it's cold as hell, so yeah, it makes you rude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get aggravated. What's the rudest city? Rudest city? Oh, they don't have one.
So is the whole state.
Oh my God, people! Oh, of course, yeah, it's where Mount Rushmore is.
Yeah.
So what? Because y'all think y'all got Mount Rushmore, y'all can be rude. I don't think it works. So you're right. Yeah, the whole state is. It ranked 13th in rudest customer ranking for. Oh God, y'all suck. I'm sorry, South
Karens.
Dakota. Oh, Ohio made
Ohio.
19th. Ohio, how'd y'all get in this list?
Well, it's cold. Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Columbus.
Ooh, and you know what? Rudest cities: Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus.
Cleveland, I can understand because it's on the water. It's on the Lake Erie, so it's cold as hell up there.
Damn, y'all just rude up there, huh? People, all your cities are rude. I don't know. Nobody's ever been rude to me in Ohio. I mean,
all my dad's relatives are up in Ohio in Youngstown, so
now you see Illinois. Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I bet you the rudest city is Chicago. So
surprised that wasn't number one.
I know. I'm surprised too. Rudest city, Chicago. Ooh, rudeness ranking 46. Man, y'all suck hard. Chicago, as you heard Jay and I both say, we weren't really surprised that it was Chicago. So I've been to Chicago about 4 times. It's an interesting city, but it's a nasty city. It's like Los Angeles, just a nasty, dirty city. Y'all got more water, thank God. But and even though Los Angeles has a coast, you really don't see it when you're in a town. You see the mountains, but the mountains look dingy and funky, especially when you're in a dingy, funky town with a dingy, funky sky. So, LA, don't y'all rude too? Y'all gonna be on this list? Oh yeah, y'all gonna be on this list. Yes, we'll see. If you're not, I know this list is full of shit.
Chicago, like New York, you can go up to any building and wipe your hand across it, and get black soot all over your hand.
Oh yeah. It's just people. We're 46 on your rudeness factor. Okay, we can't help it. Y'all rude. Michigan. You see, Michigan doesn't surprise me. I've met a lot of people from Detroit, and they're rude. I hate Detroit. Maybe y'all got hard times up there. I don't know, but y'all rude. And see, y'all even got this. Y'all even share a border with Canada, little sweet Canadians. How can you be rude to those little sweet Canadians? All Canadians are just sweet, and kind, and loving. Unless they wear pink shorts, and then you got to worry about them. But no, we're not talking. We're talking about Justin Trudeau, by the way. No, yeah. I'm sorry, Detroit. You don't even surprise us at being on the list. Just being as low. Oh, wait, Wyoming's tied with somebody. With who? Oh, see, they don't give you. Yes. And see, they don't give you no city either.
Yeah.
So all 500. Damn, that's all it's in that big ass state is 500,080 people. Jesus, we got cities bigger than the population of the state. Well, that's why they're rude. They don't want you in their state either.
Yeah.
See, look, they don't want other Wyomingians around out there riding a horse and a flower saying screw you.
They don't want to share that beauty with anyone.
These are inverts, people. Yes, I'm just saying. That's what they are, inverts. I've dealt with a lot of inverts in my time dealing with artists. Montana, well, that makes sense, Montana. I'm sorry, I can understand why y'all are rude too.
It's right next door, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Oh man, rudeness score of 48. Boy, you really beat out Chicago. Treasure State might offer gorgeous views of Rocky Mountains and wide open plains, but its residents aren't quite charming.
Aren't quite as charming, yeah.
What can you say? Hey, people, we're not making this up. You're reading this. We're doing this like this. You can't hate on us. New Jersey made 4. See, I thought New Jersey be high on the list.
I can see that.
Right
across from New York.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends from New Jersey. And a lot of them, it's funny. They moved down here, and they said they love their state, but they moved out of it. And I was like, well, I can understand that. Sometimes it gets boring. Sometimes everybody's rude. And then, for a long time, Donald Trump kind of owned the broadwalking. He's just rude by nature. So maybe he was empathic and rubbing off on everybody. I'm just saying, people, you don't have to hate on me. 14th was Jersey. So look, y'all don't try to slip 50%. Y'all don't try to slip New York in here too early in the poll. We don't believe it. North Dakota.
Another tie.
Who is North Dakota tie with?
Yeah. Can't be South Dakota. We already saw them. And it's the whole state.
Yep. It's another one with the whole state. Man, it's bad when it's the whole state. It's one thing when it's the city, Delaware.
Yeah.
Delaware. I don't know nothing about Delaware. I just don't.
Delaware is the next state over from Maryland, and my mom's relatives live over there. I have never ever been rude to. I've never been rude, but no one in the state's been rude to me over there. It's a small state.
I don't even know how y'all made wealth. I've never even heard of y'all.
Yeah, that's and what's
I mean,
what's this? Oh, no city. So the whole state. That's
yeah,
got to be wrong.
yeah, I know Delaware. I've never really had, maybe because y'all live up there, in between Pittsburgh and New York and New Jersey, and
Yeah,
yeah, maybe
there's no
so. Maybe it
sales
just rub,
tax.
yeah, maybe it just rubs off on your ass or something. Wisconsin. I thought Wisconsin was a bunch of good old rednecks. Oh,
Apparently they're not.
rudest city, rudest city is Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
You know why y'all rude? Because y'all drink that nasty Milwaukee beer. That stuff is
Yeah.
nasty, man.
Oh,
Uh,
yep. And
get
they're
some beer
swimming in
out of
that nasty
Detroit.
Milwaukee River.
Yeah, yeah, I can see why y'all rude. Plus, it's cold all the time. Y'all be cranky too. Yeah, you need to move where it's warm. Oh, Idaho. I know a lot of people from Idaho, and they were all cranky, by the way. Uh, they all had that cranky disposition.
It's because their state is shaped so weird.
Plus, a lot of people die in cancer from that state.
Oh
I don't
wow,
know what's
yeah,
going on up there. Look at that, 57%.
wow,
And no city, just everybody in the damn
the
state.
whole state.
Boise gets up in there, but they're not naming it as a rudest. Ooh, man. See, look, here's some. Oh, wait, it's a commercial. Never mind. I was going to say, here's some friendly
Look, they're
people.
playing. Yeah,
Sorry, if that's a commercial. Just ignore that. We were looking for this. California. Okay, California, you should be either first, second, or third.
yeah, in the top
San
five at
Francisco.
least.
Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento, San Diego, San Jose, and Riverside.
All the
So
big
basically,
cities.
all the big cities. I mean, now look, San Diego people are always nice. LA people are rude as all shit.
Yeah,
San
it's just
Francisco
small.
people. Well, I mean, San Francisco people just let you crap all over the ground. So I know why y'all rude because y'all
Hmm.
scared some local, some out of state is going to come take a crap in your front yard. Sacramento. I know a lot of people from Sacramento too. They're all kind of cranky ass. San Diego, everybody seems to be nice. San Jose, I really don't know
San
anybody
Diego's
from.
down in the south by the ocean. It's a surfing community. I don't see how,
Yeah.
but maybe maybe the
Oh,
surfers are
when they
douchebags.
took away their pot, they probably got cranky for a while.
Yeah,
Now that they got it back, I tell y'all what, people, if you don't smoke pot, do not go to any large cities in California. I'm just warning you because so 2 years ago I was down there filming for Ancient Aliens. So I decided to walk down to the local convenience store, wanted to get something to drink and something to snack on. And so I walked down there, and they got little alleyways in between the building. Every alleyway was just puff puff, man. It was just a woof. And then about every third person you see was walking down the street smoking a joint or smoking or something. And man, I mean, I'm shitting, not kidding you. By the time I got back from the convenience store, I was high. So I'm in here just a couple weeks ago. I'm up there for the Writers of the Future Awards. So me and two of the judges are standing outside the Roosevelt Hotel. Now, this is Roosevelt. It's a high-end hotel, high-end security right there on Hollywood Boulevard. And guess what? They were puffing up so bad. I'm not shitting you. We had to move. We were literally getting that high. Each one had their own joint. And it was just puff puff going, man. It was passing around, and we were standing like 2 feet next to them. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I said, I'll forget what I'm doing later on tonight if I don't move on. And I'm not hating anybody who smokes pot. That's not what I'm saying. That's not an issue. I just if you're not prepared for it, it can be weird. That's all I can tell you. Los Angeles, but you see, Los Angeles number one.
yeah.
San Francisco should have been number one, but we know because San Francisco, you have Nancy Pelosi,
Ew. Yeah.
and just looking at her, she's a rude bitch, and she gives you your whole state. That's why y'all on the list because of Rhode Island.
Wow.
I never heard anybody cranky about Rhode Island.
It's on the ocean. I mean, how can an ocean community be so rude?
Huh.
Providence, the capital.
Rudest city, yeah. So I had several friends from there. They were all just as sweet as could be. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky.
Yeah.
Of course, there's another little incy bincy mass. Oh yeah, we knew this was going to be.
Yeah.
Because Boston's on there.
Boston's a
Boston.
dirty, nasty city too. Yeah.
This list has a lot of stuff in common. I'm not going to say until we're done, but there's a couple big and common things with these lists. Utah.
What?
Utah.
No,
Okay.
nobody lives there, right?
Okay. Look. Okay, this is Utah. I've been to Utah about 4 times now. So Utah it don't matter what city you're in, it's mostly Mormon control. They're just as sweet as pie. Matter of fact, a lot of the people who work at the hotels are always dressed up in their Mormon stuff. They're just as sweet as can be. So unless you're doing something rude, they're not going to be rude to you. They're just is not. Now, if you try grabbing, Mama San's butt over there, you might catch some shit. But I was there. I stayed the first time. I stayed a week. Everybody was polite. People were taking their time to show me around the town. A lot of people, nobody I knew. I mean, they were just as nice as could be. I mean, I was there for lectures, but still. So every time I've been there, it's been nice. So I can't speak from experience on this one, but six, that's way up the list. I guess though,
Mhm.
you know what? They probably don't, since it's a Mormon controlled state, they probably don't want just normal people there.
Yeah, you got to
They,
be religious to probably move
yeah,
in
don't
anywhere.
come here. Alaska, yeah, you know
Wow.
why Alaska? Because you freeze your cocooners off. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, people, you got to be cranky just to live in the state. Of course, you're ranked a little high, and I
The
thought
average
since you.
year-round temperature is like -30.
So yeah, unless you live now, you know what's weird about Alaska? Right there, not too far above Vancouver. There's a little strip that comes down, and
Hmm.
it's year round. It doesn't get snow. It maintains about a 60 to 70 degree temperature. Something to do with the way the ocean currents come in, but it's the only place I know of. Everywhere else, it's bitter cold, peeps. And I haven't been to Alaska, people. Not that I can say legally, anyway. Iowa,
Wow.
Iowa. Oh, and it's the whole state, man.
Hmm. 64.
Damn. And now Iowans are talking about New Yorkers in this list. Damn. I don't know what to tell y'all. Y'all, and according to this article, y'all just as rude as you know what. Hey, look.
Apparently,
Yeah.
they're not as rude as New
Oh,
Yorkers
yeah.
because we haven't seen New York yet.
I know, huh? Well, we know they're on the list somewhere. Washington.
Is it
Uh,
the
the,
state or the
uh,
DC?
this is the
It's the
state.
state,
See,
yeah.
look, see, because of Seattle, y'all went
Hmm.
way up there. Rudeness score 67. Do you know for a long time Seattle was one of the greatest cities in the United States where people wanted to move to?
Yeah.
Now y'all are like all the rest of the liberal cities. Everybody's trying to get out of them. Just remember,
Mass
people,
migration.
to all you liberals out there who are fleeing these cities, it's because of your liberal politics. Don't bring your politics with you, or you'll just be creating the same problem somewhere else.
Hmm.
Okay, don't hate on me, people, because I'm a centralist. I'm not a Republican, and I'm not, telling you to get on their party either. So here we are, Virginia. Virginia made number two. Well, you know what? Y'all going to go down and score now. Y'all got a new governor. That other governor
Yeah.
was an
That's
idiot.
going to change next year.
Yeah, that other governor was a completely idiot. I don't know if this guy, is going to be better, but he won't be as big an idiot as this guy was.
Yeah, what's his name? A governor. He's been governor of Virginia for decades. How many years? 20,
Yeah,
30 years?
I have
Long
no
time.
idea. But this guy, he's going bye bye. So let's see.
Virginia Beach and Richmond. Well, that's not true. The whole state is rude. Believe my
Yeah, the
brother
whole
lives
state
over
is
there.
rude.
So
Yeah, the whole state is rude. I stopped and got gas, and people look at you like, "Why are you getting gas at my station?" I'm thinking, "You don't want me to spend my money here, you fucking moron." I mean, really. Sometimes you just got to wonder, Pepper. So, what do y'all think? New York? New York?
New York
Oh
or
yeah, New York
yeah,
is number one. There's no doubt there's going to be New York as number one.
100.5
I guess New York City is the real. Oh, and Buffalo. Come
and
on, Buffalo
Buffalo.
people are nice, man. What are you talking about?
They get that lake effect snow. They get
Oh,
dumped
that's
with like
true.
eight
Y'all
to
get
9 feet of snow
beat
in it
there.
sitting. Yeah, yeah. No thanks. That's rude. You got if
Well,
you live with you get my roommate in college. One of my roommates in college down in Savannah. His parents lived up in Canastota, which is not it's the same level as Buffalo, but closer to the lake. They would get snow. They get dumped 8 foot of snow on one night, and then expect 8 foot the next night.
I know.
You can't be happy with that all the time. No way.
So, guys, I'll tell you what for 99% of these states and cities we looked at, there's something in common. They're liberal controlled cities. All of them,
Democrats.
everyone with maybe exception of one, or you notice, and there was no southern states in there at all.
Mm-hmm.
None. Not one made the bad list because we nice people down here in the
Mm-hmm.
South. I can't help you damn Yankees are cranky all the time because look, when you live in a cold, it makes you
Actually,
cranky.
technically, Maryland and Virginia are southern states, but
Yeah,
they made
technically,
the
yeah.
list.
Yeah, but yeah, we done turned them over to Yankees a long time ago, man. We
South
said,
Dakota is a southern state just by name.
yeah, but we don't count them either. They're too far north. You cross the Mason-Dixon line, you don't get counted. Um, no, it is true, people. It's a big difference between liberal controlled cities and conservative controlled cities. Conservative controlled cities have far less crime, far less problems.
Mm-hmm.
Their finances are usually better, and it used to not be that way because New York and these cities wouldn't have rose to this greatness if at one time they didn't know what they were doing. It's just somewhere along the line, just like the GOP did 20 years ago, it lost its way. Well, apparently it's found its way, and I don't even know what to think about you liberals anymore. I mean, frankly, y'all scare me. I mean, oh, we need to get rid of cops, get rid of nukes, and go green and let Russia and China do it. It just, I mean, China's on global expansion, and y'all are like smoking weed and hiding in your yard or something.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention to what's going on. I mean, and then our president is now falling asleep at 3 different meetings. So the first one that I know of was with the Israeli ambassador. He just passed. You see him do this, and then he doesn't move. He's out.
Yeah.
And then the ambassador's like talking real loud and like, yeah, Mr. Biden, blah, blah, blah. And Biden's not saying anything. And then there was I forgot what the second one was. And the third one was just recently at the Paris Accords. And they were talking to him and he was out. I mean, the man's old. Even though Trump could keep it up, maybe he should call Trump and ask Trump what kind of vitamins he's taking.
Or what kind of coffee he was drinking.
Yeah, something, because, I mean, this dude is passing out. What happens when we call him, we're going to be nuked, hit the button? He goes,
yeah.
And 4 hours later, he nukes the plant while everybody's already dead. We're like, okay, that's going to work.
And you will also notice, Joe, that on this list, my new adoptive state of Pennsylvania wasn't on there.
Well, Pennsylvania people are rude. I mean, we got 2 different shows are from Pennsylvania on the network. We got 5 hosts on the network, and 2 other hosts that have lived there have been part of it. So they don't seem to be rude to me. That's why I didn't make the list. Carolyn. No, actually, okay, no. It's the first time Pittsburgh voted for Trump. The second time they didn't, but it was a really small margin. And it's one of the states where they're pretty sure some serious cheating went on. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I know is at 2 o'clock in the morning, they said a main water lane busted and they made everybody leave. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, they started resuming counting, but there was no red people there. No GOPs were there. It was just liberals. And Trump was murderizing them. I mean, it was midnight, and he was way the hell ahead. And then all of a sudden, next morning, Biden's ahead. And they got people with videos showing big bundles coming in and out. And then they found out that it wasn't a main pipe. It was just a toilet. It was a scam to run everybody out of there. And they were not under the law, even under Pittsburgh law, they weren't supposed to be counting unless somebody else was representing the other party. So they cheated there, but like I said, somebody said,
"This is a big swing state too." I mean, to lose this, it's almost every president's demise.
Yeah. So, and somebody said, "Well, no, they weren't cheating." I said, "No, every election there's cheating that goes on. I mean, every year we find that I think last year, what was it, 300,000 liberals voted last year, and it's every year." A lot of times in Chicago, it's up to like 15 or 20,000, but it's across the country. It's just ridiculous. And sometimes it's enough in one county to actually sway a direction in a very narrow county. But lately it seems like it's been more sophisticated. But see, my problem with this is okay, let's say the liberals did cheat. Well, the whole time Trump was saying, right, the whole year, they're going to probably cheat. Well, you knew they were going to cheat. You should have made sure it didn't happen. So I don't really blame the liberals whether they won. If they won outright, that's cool. If they cheated, that's cool. Because the other guy who was in charge knew you were going to try to cheat and did nothing about it. So that's on his ass. I personally think Trump wanted to lose. I think he wanted to lose because he knew it was coming with the COVID and the economy and all. And I think he knew there was going to be a big crash. So when he left, everything was in great shape. 3.3 GDP, economy's doing great. Most blacks and Hispanics ever hired in the United States in history. Yeah, he left on a great note. Biden took over 7 months later. It went to shit.
Yeah, that's how he's going to get hired. That's how he's going to get voted back. Is people are like, we want him back.
Yeah, and then Trump's going to come back. See, and every now and then you'll see him on the TV going, you see what happened. So I really think he wanted out. I think he was smart. I think it was a shrewd move. And people, he's an idiot. No, you don't have a. Somebody told me one time, he's had 5 failed businesses. I said, do you know how many businesses Trump's had? He said, how many? I said, 100. So I said, out of 100 businesses, 5 failed. I said, man, that's a pretty damn good odds there, dude.
Of those 5 that failed, he followed the laws to the precision, or to the precise word of the law, bankrupt them, and those employees that lost those jobs got paid out from whatever he did with the bankruptcy. They were okay. They weren't like going to like the welfare lines the next day. They weren't. They weren't not taken care of. They were all taken care of.
Well, and if you would have heard the press, you wouldn't have believed it. And that's the other thing. We've got a real press problem in the United States right now. We've got a divided press. We don't have a real press anymore that reports the news for what it is. So, when I look at it, so it's like we're playing with these, but we don't have any bias on these cities. We don't really care who wins. We have everybody watching tonight and listening. I probably figured New York was going to make number 1, but There was a couple states that didn't make it. I was surprised by it, I have to say, but I'm not going to mention no names in case I got to be traveling there soon or something. Uh, what do you mean, Florida? Florida, people are so sweet in Florida, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird down there, man. It's like everybody is a tour guide or something. Yeah, it's a weird state.
The only place in Florida where you'll encounter any kind of rudeness is at the big parks, Disney, Universal,
You will
etc. And the
sometimes,
only reason
yeah,
is because people from other states are going there and they're rude.
yeah. You do occasionally encounter it there. What do you mean? What other states? No, I ain't telling you what other states. Like I said, I might have to be traveling there soon, so I don't want to go. Well, I live in Mississippi now. I live in Louisiana and Mississippi, actually, both. So New Orleans is a fairly rude city, but it's not rude to tourists. It's only rude to locals, and they can know the difference. Oh hell yeah! You like put it just a little side note. So who can we use KFC? So you go to KFC in New Orleans, you're waiting on your it's 10 minutes, you're still waiting on your food. They don't give you actually, you just kind of throw it up on the thing. Halftime it's wrong, you go back and get it, and then they will argue with it. Oh, that's what you said. No, no. So now Florida, you go back, you wait on your food. It's been 3 minutes, KFC. Oh, let me give you some free desserts with this. 10 minutes goes back. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna give you $5 off of your meal plus some free desserts, and your drinks are free. And then if it goes past 15, they comp your dinner. I mean, that's just unheard of. That's just the way they are. That's the way they do business, and that's why people love going out and hanging out and having a blast. And somehow or another, in all of their restaurants and all of their businesses, they seem some way to maintain that. You know what they do? They hire people who want to have fun, and these people are kind of infectious because they're all doing whatever they're doing at their jobs, and they're enjoying it because they're making good money. And yeah, and Florida's always been a state that believed they had doubled what the waitress wage was. I think it was like $4 an hour or something. Like they doubled it plus the tips. They were making pretty good money. Well, somebody asked me one time, how come waitresses only make 4 or 5 thousand an hour? I said, because a good waitress, even in a shitty restaurant, can make 700, 800 a week. I said, in a good restaurant, they can make 2 grand a week easy.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so the businesses kind of feel, well, wait, you're taking all this money home and I'm still paying you. That just doesn't seem to be fair. So that's why they had to do that low wage on weeks that they were slow and stuff. I don't make the rules, man. Don't hate on me. I don't make the rules, no. And we're going to get out of this one for a minute. But anyway, that's your 25 unfriendliest states. Your friendliest states, I don't know who would win friendliest state. I'm not sure.
I'll bet Florida would be on that list.
No, I know Florida would be on there.
Georgia would be on that list, and Savannah would be one of the cities mentioned.
Yeah, now you see Alabama's sneaky people. I'm going to tell you a little sneaky stuff about Alabama. Okay, shh, listen. No, I'm being serious. Y'all be quiet now. Alabama is a great state. It's got more to do you can ever imagine. And what's great about Alabama is up north, you got these beautiful mountains, these beautiful vistas with all these great places nestled in these parks. And they put some really nice chalets up and apartments and stuff. And you go rent them and hang out and enjoy the snowfall or whatever. Or then you come down south to Orange Beach or Gulf Shores, and they have beautiful white, sugar sand white beaches, beautiful green ocean. Everybody down is friendly. The food is great. So the state has both worlds all snuggled in there, but they don't advertise because you know what? They really don't want you foreigners coming down and screwing around in their state. But they'll be polite to you if you come down. They will be polite. They'll be, well, nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? New York? Oh, yeah. It's still nice to meet you, sir. And man, everybody are thinking, please go back to your state. No, it is one. They got like Fairhope. Fairhope, Alabama is where everybody wants to live. It don't matter who you are. When you go there, it's an artist community is what it is. They got these little book things set up in every little corner where you can go get your freebie books. Everybody there is absolutely sweet. It's, the property value is nice. You got beautiful sunsets. So some weekends they have Serenade of the Sunset where the orchestra plays the sunset down. They do a lot. They got this one area where it's pick a rose for your girlfriend. They've got like 500 rose bushes out there blooming all the time, all year round. Beautiful sunsets, beautiful people, and lots of stuff to do. And they got little hidden parks all over the place that they don't tell anybody about. Matter of fact, a lot of their malls now have mini parks inside of them. And then they've got great little hidden parks, like the one down right outside of Gulf Shores. They got this. It's a state park. It's got these beautiful 2 and 3 bedroom cabins that you can rent. It's on the water. You can actually watch the sunset. Oh no, Keith, that's true. There's a guy about once a month, not far from my house. He goes across the bayou from my house, and he plays the sunset down with an electric guitar. It's beautiful. He plays actually excellent. Yeah, people get pissed. I enjoy it, but some of the people around here. See some hottie snotty rich people in my neighborhood. Not me, but there's some hottie snotty rich people. No, I wish I was one of them, but no. No, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Oh yes, Chris. He has fallen asleep 3 times. I've never had it. As far as I know, he's the only president I've ever heard of that fell asleep. Why
There's
he's
been
on the
presidents that
job.
fall down. George, what was his name? Gerald Ford fell
Yeah,
down all the
well, I
time.
mean, yeah, we had
He
Biden
didn't fall
fall down
asleep.
too. Yeah, well, Biden fell down twice that I know of now. Well, so here's Biden. Go get your shots. You save people's lives. Don't get COVID. And who gets COVID? His press secretary. Supposedly she's got the shot, but she got COVID. She got pretty good from what I heard. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, people. It seems like there's some bullshit going around with the COVID stuff. Well, I keep hearing about get the shots. I've never seen them push a drug like this on kids before. It kind of bothers me because
It's on everybody. I mean, it's
I don't trust the FDA. And I mean, last time, so a friend of mine got mad at me about this the other day because I was talking about this. And I said, look, dude, I said, let's go look at how many times the FDA put a drug on the market and then took it off. Oh, that never happens. It's like, you got to be shitting me, right? So I brought him on the site and I showed him. He's
yeah,
like,
it happens.
I said, dude, it's like 1 out of every 5 drugs. He's like, you're kidding me. I'm like, no. And I said, we've had vaccines that have screwed people up. And I said, you forget, this is the same government that used to try do experiments on sickle cell on black people and use other drugs on them as well. I said, so don't think our government's not beyond experimenting on its
It's the same
population.
government that took blankets, infected them with smallpox, and gave them to Native American women
Oh
and
yeah,
children.
it is the same government that did that. So you can't actually just go around thinking oh our government wouldn't do anything nefarious because it would.
And they've done it.
What about AOC? AOC is a moron. Fucking Chihuahua's got more sense than AOC does. Oh, you think? Well, it don't matter if you think she's cute. Okay, so she's cute. She's still a moron. She's just a cute moron. She's an idiot when it comes to politics. She's the one. She says, "Well, we don't need a military." I just heard somewhere in Russia, Putin just started giggling like a schoolgirl, going, "Yeah, America don't need a military. That's right." And then I remember when Omar said, "Well, we shouldn't have nuclear weapons." And the reporter looked at it and said, "Well, when Russia and China and everybody else gets rid of theirs, I'm sure we'll get rid of ours." She said,
Yeah.
"Well, maybe we should make an example. So what? They can invade our country because we
Yeah.
don't have no nukes. So what are you,
We
stupid?"
go last or not at all.
Yeah, I said, "You've never heard of it," and that's a problem. But I brought up this at a lecture I was doing. There was a bunch of Z-gens in it. I was talking about mutual assured destruction. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Wait a minute. You do not know what a mutual assured destruction?" And most of them are like, "No." I said, "That's the reason we all have nukes." I said, "It's to make sure no one's stupid enough to invade one of the other countries because they will be wiped off the face of the planet along with everything else."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "So if we go, they go. That's their thing." And I said, "That's why we've been developing these weapons to shoot stuff down." And then, of course, China over there with its hypersonic missiles. And somebody said, "Well, we don't have them." I said, "We don't really need them. We have hypersonic jets now. So they could just deliver the payload wherever they want to deliver it at." Yeah, it's a little different, folks. The world's changing. Plus, next army you're going to see is going to probably be a drone army. So right now, China can mass produce things. Trump, though, he brought a lot of production back to the country, but they can outproduce this in a mass way. But the problem is it won't matter because for every product we make, it'll take on 50 of theirs because about every third one of theirs will fucking fall out of the sky because it's crap. I mean, remember, people, this is China we're talking about. I mean, the first time they flew their stealth jet, it fell out the sky. Second time, it was puffing so much smoke you could see it coming from miles. It didn't even matter if it was stealth. Oh my lord! And they're just the problem is they copy our technology and they even get information from us. They must not be getting the right information because they can't quite seem to get it right. What now? And well, they get some from Russia too. But even Russia doesn't seem to be giving up their top of the line stuff.
And they're not lucky like us. In the 80s and 90s, we actually had like Russian fighter pilots defecting from
Oh yeah,
Russia, bringing their MiG fighter planes with them. So we didn't have to like guess. We had the actual.
well I remember at the Russians got pissed because at the last air show we were flying around a MiG-29. Oh,
Yeah.
that's state of the art, people. We're not supposed to have that.
Oops.
And somebody said, "Oh, the Russians learned it to us." And I still remember when the Russian general was on policy. He said, "We didn't loan shit to anybody. We don't know how they got that. They are not supposed to have it." And then my dad just told him, "Now we know everything about your plane." Well, it just happens. I mean, half of China's military developments came from the United States. stupid corporate people in our companies, countries selling them information.
Hmm.
Oh, we'll give you 50 million. What? For what? Oh, yeah, I'll sneak you out a couple of this. Thinking what? That they might not use it against you in the future? How ignorant can you be? What about Staten Island? I got a few friends from Staten Island. They're rude. Oh, yeah, everybody I know from Staten Island is rude. Sorry, Staten Island people, but everybody I know from that place is just rude as hell. Michael Angley says it's because y'all are not really part of New York. Y'all really part of New Jersey.
It's not
I'm just telling
attached,
you.
actually.
I'm just telling you what a New Yorker saying. I'm not. Don't hate on me. It's him. He's a New Yorker. He says y'all are not really part of New York. Y'all part of New Jersey.
He's a New Yorker by way of Canada, though, isn't he?
He might as well be where he's at. He's up there with Ithaca somewhere. He's way up at the top of the state. Oh no, he's from Lower New York, but he lives way up. Yeah, right now he's in the boondocks somewhere in the top of the state. Probably froze up there like an ice cube. That's probably why we haven't seen him tonight. He got froze before he could get to his computer. Well, you throw some Parkers on him, he'll look like a Bigfoot with his 6'5" self walking around out
Yeah.
there. Yeah, man, you'd be like, "What the hell is that?" And he lives
Look
on a
out,
lake
mommy,
in the
it's a
woods.
squatch.
I can hear it now. There'd be all kind of reports coming out of there. So let's see. They show this on this map. So all the blue states are friendly states. So that was Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, Nebraska, Oregon, and Minnesota. Everybody else. And the red states are all the shitty ones. And the medium states were Colorado, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Maine, and Vermont. Those were the semi-friendly states. And I guess friendly as the southern states are, though. And some of the middle heartland states. Whatever, people. Well, that's all I can tell y'all. Hold on. Let me go see. I know we were looking at that earlier. We'll get into some of these articles as soon as I get back to where I was looking at. Oh, shit, I lost it. Sorry, people. It's being live radio and all. Every night I do stuff like that.
There are gonna be glitches.
So, vaccine refusals and intelligence agencies raise GOP concerns. See, I don't know why. Maybe I should read the article, but so why would the Republicans be upset that the security agencies don't want to get vaccines? I mean, this is one of the things that Republicans are pushing. If you don't want one, you shouldn't have to get one. I mean, they're suing Joe Biden over it right now. That's why. Because under the law, they'll be dismissing them. Republicans are like, whoa, you can't just be firing all of our security people. Oh, I see why. All right, guys. Because the mandate is ignorant. So here we got Governor DeSantis in Florida. So for 2 months, all I heard from on NBC, CNN, and all the major media is what he's insane. He's killing his people. He's doing this now. And by the way, in case y'all didn't know, Florida has the lowest COVID rate in the country by far. It's almost gone in their state. So all the rest of the states, countries like the northern states, are going through it again, just like the southern states did. They're just what they proved is you didn't have to be masked, you didn't have to have a vaccine, you didn't have to be 6 foot. They're still not doing it in the states back to normal. So who was right and who was wrong? It looks like he was right, and the rest of the media, including our lovely Fucci guy, were wrong. It's not just him. Louisiana did the same thing. Mississippi did the same thing. Louisiana's rates are almost down to nothing now. Lowest hospitalization since it started. And no, I don't care what anybody says. Colin Powell did not die from COVID. He died from stage 4 cancer. Yeah, COVID just assisted it. See, it's always bothered me how, COVID killed him. No, COVID did not kill him. If he didn't have stage 4 cancer, he'd still be alive.
Yeah.
So stage 4 cancer, that killed him. Yeah, no, it's bullshit because they get more money when they say, "Oh, well, it was COVID." No, I would venture to say probably 65% of the cases, maybe even 70% of the cases that they say were COVID, there was an underlying factor where the person was going to die within 6 months anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just calling bullshit on that. The other 30% couldn't tell you, but I got to tell you, I'm calling bullshit on that because I've talked to too many people now who got sick from it that are older than me in their 60s and 70s, and it didn't kill them because for the most part they were healthy. Michael, it could have been a drug that was designed to weed out the sick and the infirm. I mean, China's got a big population. If they could
China's
knock off,
huge.
if they could knock off 300 million, that's giving them some breathing room. I mean, they got 1,300,000,000. Now, don't get me wrong, their middle class is bigger than ours now, but still, their poverty class is 5 times the size of ours, or actually 10 times the size of ours. So we're in a point where I don't know. But Virginia Democrats concede loss of state house. So the Virginia lost the governor and the house, and they're scared when the second election comes up in 2022, they're going to lose the Senate there too. So it looks like the whole state's going back red. It happens, people. Under Trump, I mean, at one point the GOP had 34 governors. I mean, it doesn't matter what the president's doing. They had 34 governors. They controlled all but 16 states. That's who had the control. You can say, well, we had the House and the Senate and the presidency. Yeah, but they controlled the majority of the states. I mean, really, who's winning this argument? They still have more states than the blue states, and they always have been. Because Democrats make the same fatal thing every year. The middle of the country doesn't count to them. The middle part and the upper part up there doesn't count. And in a way, they're right, because for them, California, the East and West Coast is where they get the majority of votes from.
And that's the only reason, the only way they can even win elections. They have to cheat. They don't have the states to back up any one president of theirs.
Because somebody said just recently, get rid of the electoral college, get rid of the count, and just go by the states. Whoever wins the most states wins the election. And they're saying, so if you have 30 governors or 35 governors, your president should be serving. Because it would be more likely to, I'm thinking, the Democrats would never get another president in. Oh, and Mark, I did see that. So they did the study, and they sent to Biden that Biden should add 5 justices to the Supreme Court.
5? Why?
And get rid of the filibuster, because they don't have any control. So, and get rid of the filibuster. Okay, all right. Now, so y'all know this. The liberals used it. The Republicans used the filibuster in the last 10 years, I think 40 times. I'm sorry, 240 times. And that same amount of times, the Democrats used it 864 times. And they want to get rid of it. I mean, that's why the older Democrats are like, what are you talking about? We used it all the time. He said the whole time Trump was in, they had the House and the Senate. I mean, don't forget, when Obama was in, after his first 2 years, they had the House, the Senate, and everything up. We never got the House and the Senate back. We lost it for the whole time he was president. They only had the complete control. So for Obama, they had complete control for 2 years. That's how they get Obama shit passed. They lost the House in the first midterm election, and then the next full-term election, they lost the Senate. They never got it back. And right now, they've only got a tie in the Senate, only because they have what's-her-face, Kamala Harris, or Smelly Harris. Do anybody knows where she's at? Does anybody even see her? For the first 3 months, she was always standing behind Biden like she was going to catch him or something. But now you don't even see her. She's nowhere. She doesn't go do anything. She's the worst VP ever.
She's self-quarantining at the vice president's mansion.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the potato guy wouldn't have been a better VP. If y'all don't know who the potato guy is, y'all have to look it up. If he was running with one of the other people, he misspelled potato. Yes, spelling thing. So they always gave him shit after that. They would give me shit now, so I misspell stuff all the time.
Dan Quayle misspelled it too, so I mean, who cares?
Yeah, just one of those.
We're not fighting for a president or vice president because of their spelling ability.
Yeah, Winterette knows what they're doing. You know what? I can't see that. Let me see it. On StreamYard. Let me go back and look. I can't see it. No, I don't see it. You must be sending me crazy stuff. Amelia, did you just send me a recipe for homemade candy while I'm on the air? Shame on you. Shame on you. See, people, she is a FT, in case you don't know what that is. FT is a food tease, and she's a bad one. I mean, she's like evil food tease, man. Well, there's been we're going to go over more articles. Just calm down, come on. New York County prosecutor cast doubt on sex offense charges against Como. So wait a minute, yeah, he didn't quit. He just stepped down so he could get back up and take over again, right? Just by the way, the chick that took over for him you thought this guy was bad. Y'all don't even know. I mean, other than being a sex offender, he ain't nothing like this crazy biatch that took over. Oh yeah, she's getting sued for all kinds of stuff. She's way overreached on her power. Well, the problem with telling people you have to get a vaccination is just illegal in this country. And eventually all this is going to get in front of the Supreme Court. And all 9 justices said the same thing. They will have to vote it's illegal because it's illegal. So now in states like Louisiana and San Francisco and other places, so in New Orleans, you have to show your card if you go to restaurants, bars, or certain types of events, sporting events, anything that's a big event. But the rest of the places you don't, like if you go in a museum, you don't have to show your card. Then you don't have to. But the parishes on both sides of them, you don't have to show your cards. So in Metairie, Jefferson Parish, they got excellent restaurants out there, just as good as actually better than most things you'll find in the city because most of the city's designed for tourists. So most everybody goes and eats out there anyway. So they got great restaurants, great food, great entertainment, and you know what? You don't have to wear your mask. You don't have to show your card. So what's happening is these businesses in the beginning were all like on the mask. Oh yeah, we're helping you, mayor. We're going to get it. But now they're losing business because nobody wants to show a vax card. It's being asked for one just irritates people. So, but this hurt the Democrats. In case y'all didn't know this,
tactics. I mean, we've never ever had to show unless you're buying alcohol. You really don't have even if in some states where you vote, you don't have to show your identification. So having to show a vaccination card is like Gestapo tactics.
And see what you just said. That just bit the Democrats and liberals in the ass. So one of the always things is, well, a lot of people can't go get their IDs to vote. That's what the problem is. Even though we all know in the United States, to buy anything, spend any kind of money, you got to show your ID. If you go into the doctor, you got to show your ID. You go into your bank, you got to show your ID. You cash a check, you got to show your ID.
Yeah.
Hell, all kind of places you got to
buy cigarettes, buy alcohol. You got to show. Buy a car, you have to show your driver's license.
Buy a house, buy whatever, you got to show your ID. But you don't have to show it for voting. So, but now, if everybody can get a COVID card, guess what? That means all these same people who had to go out and get the vaccination can surely go get a voter ID. And what's about it is like, lady said, well, I said, well, how do you do your banking if you don't have an ID? Well, I do it online. I said, you can do some things online, but some things you have to go to the bank with and show an ID.
To open an account, you can do online.
Well, even if you're doing big checks, they want you to come in with your identification and show them. They won't let you do it online. So, no. So, unfortunately, you got to show. When you go to a doctor, any doctor, and especially if and this is what gets me, well, old people can't get out there. Bullshit. Old people going to doctors all the time, but they're not getting any treatment without that ID. They got to show their ID and their insurance card. So you can't even say they don't have one, Dems. And now that you've thrown this, well, everybody got to have a vax card in, that means everybody got to have an ID. Because you got to show your ID to get your vax card. Ooh, that just kicks you right in the ass, didn't it?
Yeah.
Everywhere you go to get that shot, you got to show your ID to get it. Oh, yeah, Dems, you just bit your own ass with that one. What do you mean? Well, you just said everybody got to have a vax card. That means everybody's got to have an ID to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now y'all sitting there saying your ID thing for no voting is gone now. You don't have that excuse anymore.
Yeah.
And you know what? It doesn't matter because 88% of Americans are pro-voter ID.
Yeah.
Actually,
I don't see a problem with it. I mean, you're voting for a very important office in most cases, even if it's just local. But how does the guy sitting behind the desk know who you are? There's no way the people that the electors, the guys that sit behind the desk and hand out the ballots and whatnot, there's no way that everyone in that room knows everyone who's coming through that room. It's impossible.
No,
even if you've been in the county your entire life, you don't know everyone who's coming through that door.
Yeah, so I don't know. And I don't know anymore. It's kind of a moot argument for them now. Mike, we'll talk about the abortion in a little bit, but it is kind of a moot part for the liberals now. I don't know how they're going to use that as an excuse anymore. So voter ID should be in well, look, 72% of Americans are for voter ID and thumb scan. Yeah.
Thumb scan?
It's thumb scan. When you get your thumb, put your thumb on it. Fingerprint scan.
Yes, that works, but I mean, you have
what they found out in Obama's election and Trump's first election and second elections, they found out there was a lot of cross-state voting. So one lady confessed. She voted 4 times in New York, 8 times in Pittsburgh. Anyway, she went around to 5 different states that are all close together, voted more than 41 times. One woman.
Wow.
And she said she knows at least 100 other people that are doing that. So that's in some small areas, that's enough to turn it. But if you've got 1,000, 2,000 people doing, you definitely got a way to turn it. That's just outright cheating. So once your ID goes in the system, it should be linked together. And I don't know about online voting.
There's still going to be someone who's going to be able to take their thumbprint and put on 5, 6, 7, 8 different ballots. Go to 5, 6 to 7.
Well, they're saying they should use the same technology as the state troopers use. How they link their systems together. They said we should use it because it doesn't get it's hard to hack, and it's run by the state troopers. They said they should use the same system, and that way it links in and shows it'll say if somebody else has voted before. and then they won't be able to do it. My problem is I'm leery of anything connected to the internet.
Yeah. Because there's
Yeah.
someone out there who can get into it eventually.
Yeah, eventually somebody's going to figure out how to get into. Oh, well, look, this. Well, just to help y'all out, people, in the Biden-Trump election, there were 21 counties across 3 states that had twice as many voters as they had registered people living in the county. That's cheating. One of them was in Pittsburgh, by the way, and one of them was in Arizona, which now they've proven that Arizona and was it Minnesota actually did not go to Biden; they went to Trump. They really say there's 4 states. That's why you heard Trump come out a couple of weeks ago and said, "Well, wait, stop. I don't want to take over the presidency. I don't want 2 years. I want 4 years." He said, "Let them do whatever and bring me back in 2024." Mike, I still probably won't vote for him. I like him better than Biden. I'm not going to lie. I liked him better than Obama and Bush because he understands finance. He got our finances up. He put our enemies in their place and kept our allies in their place because America has been giving away far too much money for far too long.
Yeah.
Some of that money needs to stay home now. And European and NATO and them start needing it. And just like the UN, they need to start picking up the tab and not expecting America to bail them out all the time. I'm not against it.
We paid for Osama bin Laden's $1 million compound in Pakistan, and then we had to storm it with our own troops.
I know.
We were giving way too much money away to countries that have it out for us. They're not they're in the limelight. They're our friends, but when the lights go down, they're like, let's go get them.
Well, that's like China the other day at the Accord. They wouldn't give any real thing what they were going to do anything, and then they said America needs to put up more money. Yeah, whatever. China, you need to put up some freaking money and shut your ass up. PG, she that's the other problem. Trump with a banner with. You notice that Ping never got into it with Trump. Neither did Putin. Oh, he's bought by Putin. He's bought. No, he wasn't. They were scared of him. Putin admitted to it. So did Ping. So, in a private interview, they were asking him about Joe Biden. And do you fear Joe Biden and the military under Biden? He said, no, Biden's not that kind of president. He said, we could probably pretty much get away with a lot more stuff. He said, we're not going to push it crazily, but he said, we'll see expansion under Biden because he's not going to do that kind of stuff. She said, well, what about Trump? He said, I got to tell you, Trump always made me a little nervous because you never knew what might set him off and he might just drop a nuke on your head. He said he was truly a president that may have just all of a sudden you'd have woke up in the morning, there'd have been a submarine staring you in the face, and all of a sudden here comes a 50 kiloton nuke before you can even get into the basement to get saved. You're dead. Yeah, he said America's got a great military. He said much more than people realize. And he said, and under someone like Trump, it could be very efficient. He said, but and Ping said the same thing. He said Biden doesn't scare him at all, and Trump scared him because you just never knew. Trump might have got pissed. He said, look what he did us. He said he screwed. Thanks to Trump, we set China back 50 years. Well, no, about 30 years, but still. And if Biden would have followed suit, we'd have set him back in easy 60 or 70 years because we did the same thing that we did Russia. Russia, we got into a war of building our weapons and bankrupted Russia. Instead, what we did is we called out China. We said, really? You've been building all these buildings. You got all these cities. We want to call it your money now. So we're going to cut you off from buying from us, and we're going to get our allies in Europe to really stop slowing down. Oh, wait, China, are you slipping back into a third world country? Oh, well, second world country, slow down, man, you're going backwards. In case you don't know, China built all these big buildings. China's trying to store minerals and things that they would need. So they built these concrete buildings with all this wiring and all this materials in them in case they needed it in the war. They could always go pull it, take them down and get it out because they didn't really have a place to keep it. And they didn't want the world to see them stockpiling stuff that could be used for military. So even though they've got Russia at one time had 3 times as many ships as we did, and we never feared Russia's Navy. Yeah. And China's now got 1.5 times the ships we do, but they're junk. Did you look at their aircraft carriers? I mean, we'd sink them in 15 minutes.
They have wooden decks still. Ours are
concrete.
We
would sink them in a minute. And the difference is our wolf packs would hunt down both China and Russia. So, but matter of fact, Russia talked about it. They said America's wolf pack is diddly. They make the Nazis look like playtime. He said, you never know where they are. And then all of a sudden you hear ping, because they'll ping a Russian sub to let them know they're there in case they do a crazy Ivan. He said, no, we're right behind you. And they're like, he said, but that's what the wolf pack is for. They're to hunt down nuclear submarines and kill them.
I'll tell you exactly how scary our Navy is, particularly the Navy subs, because my father's passed away now. So any top secret work he did, I'm not really privy to. But there was one technology that we made that my dad's company and other contractors, TRW among them, Honeywell among them, made our stuff. Not they wouldn't have the stealth subs then. We're just our nuclear attack boats, Los Angeles class, and so on. They in order to make our boats more quiet, they had chips made by Honeywell to make the diesel engines more quiet when they needed the diesel engines to charge batteries. The TRW made bushings and mountings for the engines to bring them up off the deck plates so the engine wouldn't reverb through the deck. Mm-hmm. My dad's company invented these technologies that were inside the engine compartment. That's like egg crate kind of sound dampening devices that kept the engine sounds from bouncing outside the hull. And then my father's company also came up with a new towed array to replace SOSAs called SIRTAS. It's a surface towed array sonar sensor system. And this was towed behind our spy boats, Tejagas class spy boats. Now, our boats back then in the 80s, it's particularly the Los Angeles class, which they also call the boomers, the big boomers. They got 12 stacks.
Uh-oh, we froze you. Something happened, Jay.
So that's pretty amazing.
It is. We've got a badass Navy, and somebody was asking me that day about serving on a Nimitz. I said Nimitz was badass in its day. I said she's being retired now, just like the Enterprise was. I said, but I said Nimitz class carrier was badass, and even today, I said let me explain to you what decommission means. And for some ships, it means some ships it means scrapyard. Some ships it means it's going to go be parked as a museum left in full tack in case it needs to be put back out at sea again. So technically, China does have a bigger navy, but if you consider all the reserve, no, ours is about twice the size of theirs.
Of course, our Coast Guard in times of war, they become Navy. So
yeah, they do, and then so the Marines belong to the Navy. So people don't, and the Marine ships are kind of separate from the Navy ships. They're Harrier carriers and stuff like that. Now they got F-22 Harriers. Them bitches are badass, man. They vertical lift. Navy still don't really into vertical lift, but the Marines are. They always have been because their carriers don't have real long runways. They just have elevators like the other ones do, but they're shorter, so they need vertical lift.
Yeah, VTOL craft don't need that much. I mean, for landing maybe, but not for taking off. They can go straight up.
Oh, it's kind of crazy the way they work. I remember, man, I was stationed not too far from where I live right now, and I was on morning patrol, and I heard the alarm go. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I mean, this is like, 50 miles outside of New Orleans. I'm thinking, why is the alarm system going off? So, I'm looking up and I see right at the end of the runway, there's a V. Looks like one single V with these lights flash. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's making an awful noise. I got to thinking, I know the sound of that noise. Because what happened was the guy on radar reported it as a UFO. He didn't know what the hell it was because it was a flight of Harriers in formation. But you couldn't see them at a distance. They looked like one plane or one aircraft. And since they were hovering and then kind of just moving forward down the runway, they looked like a UFO. I was freaking out on them for a minute until I recognized the sound. I'm like, freaking Harry, I know what that is. And then I called the duty watch officer. I said, man, that's a Harriers. What are y'all doing? He said, it's the tower. They tripped us. I said, well, you need to call the idiots before they wake up the whole base and the captains and the admirals and everybody else, and we're all getting shit. And he goes, yeah, you're right. And then not 5 minutes later, my commanding officer calls me. He's a captain. Joe, what the fuck is going on? I said, it's a flight of Harriers coming in, and the Tyne and Cowler lost their mind. I said, they thought it was a UFO. He said, you're shitting me, right? You woke the whole base. And I said, I'm sorry, sir. I had nothing to do with this. I said, and I'm the one that called it in is that it wasn't a UFO. He said, well, thank God somebody was paying attention. And I was like, he said, well, I'll see you in the morning. I'm like, yes, sir, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. But he did. He called me out in the field because, we all have to carry radios. And I was like, holy crap, you got the captain of the freaking whole base up now. I'm thinking, Lord, people. What was that, Chris? No, captains in the Navy are equivalent to colonels in the other armed forces. Mm-hmm. We don't have that. The Navy skipped that rank. Yeah, they don't have a colonel. So captains can do a city or be in charge of a town or run a boat. When you run an aircraft carrier, it's a mini city anyway. Damn thing's got 7,000 people on it now. Yeah, they're crazy big. What was that, Chris? No, I have no idea about that. One of my favorite stories. I'll tell this story again. So when Reagan was in office, this happened under Trump too, but we'll tell you about Reagan first. So when Reagan was off, and China was giving him shit about something. So one afternoon, four nuclear submarines popped up around China. on two on each coast, two on the bottom, one on each side of the coast, and basically said you would have been dead before you got to the phone. They didn't even know they were there. We actually called them in to let them know they were standing on their sides. China scrambled by the time, but and you could tell how bad it was. The subs had been there, I think, for almost an hour before we called it in, and they reacted, which means they could have took out all of China in no time at all. So Reagan proved it again that they can't find their subs. So I mean, not Reagan. Trump proved it again. He sent three of them up, one on each coast and one underneath it. Now these were nuclear powered subs, but they were armed with uh, not surface air missiles. What do you call them? Cruise missiles. Each one had about 80 or 90 cruise missiles on it.
ICBMs.
Yeah. Well, no, these are cruise missiles. These are not ICBMs.
Okay.
Yeah. So
TLAMs.
yeah. So now you can put nuclear warheads on them. I don't know if
Mhm.
the ships are carrying warheads or not, but these are just basic. And Trump called it in and said, "Hey, you do notice we have submarines in your intercoastal waters, right?" They just freaked out because they had no idea. So make it worse. Just before Trump's leaving, we're sailing a fleet through the South China Sea. And one of our destroyers go rogue. It's one of the Zimwalt class. Now, Zimwalt class are badass. You can't see them on radar. They got rail guns on board, but everything gets sucked in. You can't tell what anything is. They got all kind of missile launches on it. So this thing sailed into the middle of the Chinese fleet, right behind the aircraft carrier before anyone, and it actually called the aircraft carrier. That's why they knew it was in the fleet. I don't know. Was nobody paying attention? This thing comes floating through their fleet.
They weren't keeping up their visual lookouts.
Apparently, or somebody just looked at it and thought it was theirs. And I still remember the guy was talking. The guy was talking to the captain of the boat, and he said we could have sunk 2/3 of their navy before they even knew we were alive and running. He said we had already targeted 72 craft that was involved in it, and he said we had the capability of launching at 100 at one time. And he said if the rail guns are active, we can cut a carrier in two like butter. Cut right through it and sink it. He said we don't need no nukes, we don't need anything else. And I was like. He said, we just wanted to show them, hey, you're not as badass as you think you are. And then, of course, it was our guy who invented the software for combination drones. So this is just a software guy, had nothing to do with the military. He's a guy that invented the software to link multiple drones at one time so you can fly like 100 drones at a time. And he's the guy who invented it. So I imagine China get their fingers on it now. But still, it's interesting technology. It really is. So the world's a changing place. The next war probably won't even have that many people involved in it. It'll probably be more of the guys sitting at at their joysticks flying around. And that's another. I still remember this was so fucking funny. Excuse my language. So about 11 years ago, no, I'm sorry, about 9 years ago, an admiral from Russia defected. And his counterpart in China defected a couple weeks later. And it was weird that they both defected. So it was funny because he said they were talking to the Chinese guy, and he was saying, "Well, America's developing new technologies with the drones and stuff like that, and so are we." And the Russian guy saying the same thing. So anyway, long story short, they said, "Well, the difference is, yeah, China might be able to outproduce them." He said, "But America's youth have been playing games for 40 years now." He said, "First off, America has not been outside of a conflict in 50 years." He said, which means their fighters are going to be much tougher, much meaner, and have a big advantage. And one of theirs will be worth 10 of ours easily. He said, because they've been in combat, and all their generals and admirals have been in combat. They understand how this works. He said, but more importantly, they have 3, almost 4 generations of gamers. He said they rule in games. And he said the only country that even comes close is Japan. He said, so when you start talking about ready to go fighters, he said there's thousands of them in the United States that can control millions of drones. He said we're not even nowhere near ready for that yet. And he said we're not going to be anytime soon. China's going to be, they'll build a lot of drones and they'll get 1 or 2 guys that can fly them. He said, but in the end, he said all these gamers that have been flying for 20 years, and he was talking about World of Warcraft. He said them alone, I said their eye-hand coordination, he said they'll be just kicking everybody's ass. And the Russian thing guy kind of agreed with him. It was a very interesting thing that they defected all within like 6 months of each other. It always made me want to think they knew each other.
Or they had it planned out, yeah.
What is a defection from Russia? I mean, Russia's a free country, so can't he just leave and go to England? I mean, technically, that's not a defection, right? Unless,
well, but if you're trying to escape with state secrets and you want asylum, you have to claim that. So
yes, I guess, and they both claimed it. So I understood why they did it from Russia, but that made sense. From China, but that made sense about Russia. Well, no, Russia's a free country, Mark. They're democratic elections just like we do.
Yeah,
They're
we're a free country, but we have people defect from here to Russia, and the
yeah. I
way
mean, it happens. It's not like yeah, some Americans disgruntled with the government and say, "I hate all y'all." Well, I'm still hearing about 911, whether it was a freak thing or not. People tell me all the time, George Bush did. I said, wait a minute. I said, what are you telling me? Is George Bush is the most brilliant president ever? Oh no, he hated it. Blah blah blah. I said, wait, you're telling me in 8 months that he orchestrated one of the craziest attacks in the history of our country in 8 months? I said, that's impossible. I said, for what they did for there, it took far more than 8 months. I said, the pilots were in our country for 4 years. I said, if anybody dropped a ball, Clinton dropped a ball. And Clinton even said it. He said, if they would have listened to me and joined the agencies like I asked them to, this would not have happened.
I agree with
Everybody
that
forgets,
100%.
back in the 90s, everybody forgets, they tried to blow up the towers before. They put a
Mhm.
big truck full of explosions underneath it, and it just didn't really blow up anything. So,
They cracked a couple of like concrete pylons in the bottom of the garage.
yeah.
It didn't do nothing.
Yeah, so,
Probably scared the crap out of everybody in the building, but that's it. No big threat at all. They actually were in that same time frame. They're actually better at taking out our bases in like the Middle East. Look, I went down to go to into DC to watch Tangerine Dream play at the Kennedy Center, and right before this happened is when that van went into our Marine base in Saudi Arabia and blew up the whole base, killed hundreds of people. So, and right after that, and this is how freaky the security was in this country. I walked right into Kennedy Center, which is a huge monument, basically in DC, with a backpack full of 6-pack of soda and 6 little miniatures of rum and tequila. No one searched me, and this was right after an attack on our forces across the street. 911 happens. 3 planes hit 3 major buildings, destroying a whole lot of stuff, and you can't get across the country without being down.
no, I know.
Basically patted down twice in an airport.
One of my favorite places to go sky watching, which is outside of a NASA facility. We've been going there for years, and at night it's about where we sit's about 40, I don't know, about a mile from the main gate. So we go out and it's just beautiful. There's no lights out there at all. It's a great place to watch. And we're laying out there watching. All of a sudden, security comes up and says, "You got to leave." I said, "What do you mean I got to leave?" I said, "It's a free country. I mean, oh, this is still NASA land. You're on the buffer zone that still belongs to us. You need to leave our territory." I'm like, "What?" He said, "We're at heightened stage 4 security," or what he said, red security. You can't be here. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I've been going out there for 15 years, never seen a person out there before. I don't even know how you knew we was there. Nobody had passed by, no cars had come by. I have no idea how they knew us.
Sensors.
Oh, yeah, because we were close enough to the gate. They probably were watching the area. And I was like, so we left. And then it was funny. A friend of mine from France came over, and we were out riding out in this area one night. And we were out just doing some sky watching and showing. Out of nowhere, a cop stops us. Don't even know where he came from, by the way. And he's telling us all this story. You can't be out here at night. They're running military operations, and they're blowing up boats and stuff, and you got to be careful. They might mistake you. I'm like, excuse me? He said, yeah, that's what's going on out here. You got to be really careful. And, of course, the girl with me and my wife are just freaking. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, there's nothing going on. There's no rapid-fire machine gun of any kind
You
going
can
on.
fire back at him. You're out here, officer. Why can't we be?
And I'm like, he's like, oh, no. That's what he told us. They were supposed to be keeping everybody out the area. And I said, well, where'd you come from? He's like, well, what do you mean, where'd you come from? I said, where'd you come from? He's like, well, I was right down the street. And I was like, right down the street where? And he's like, oh, no. I said, we didn't see him nowhere. I don't know where this guy came from. And then I tell him, he got really mad at me. He goes, the way this area is, part of it's in New Orleans. I mean, part of it's in Louisiana, part of it's in Mississippi. The way the road goes in, sometimes you're in Louisiana, sometimes you're in Mississippi. So I'm kind of like, I said, well, where are you? And I look over and see what kind of cop he is. I'm like, no. We're in Louisiana. What are you doing? He said, oh, but it's just a formality because the road goes in and out. And I'm thinking, no, not really. And then he goes on to tell us about these people shooting up stuff in the swamp and these military people blowing up stuff. And I'm like, I come out here all the time. I've never heard anybody blowing up anything. And I was getting aggravated with him, but he was getting aggravated with me. And he was a sheriff officer. I said, okay, well, we'll go somewhere else. He said, well, that's a good thing and y'all need to. Now, I've been out there since and before, and it's only happened to him 2 times, but it was weird. And then We in Honey Island Swamp driving through, and one of the rangers stops us. I'm like, "What can I do for you?" He said, "This dude's being aggressive." Well, you don't have your thing up here. You should have filled out the thing. I'm thinking, well, you're going to write me a ticket because I had it in the car. I just hadn't filled that out. A little pamphlet you got to fill out. He's getting really, really aggressive and more aggressive. Like, oh, I want to search your car and stuff. And I was just waiting for it. And then I said, you're live on Facebook. And he looked at me and said, well, I own a radio station. I was just out here filming and broadcasting live while we were out here. And I said, the system came on about 2, 3, 4 minutes ago. And I said, you can see yourself in the cam. And his whole demeanor changed. I mean, seriously changed. He got all nice and polite and all. And, well, you need to go ahead and fill that card out and put it on your dashboard and, be safe out here and have fun. And this dude was going to give us some shit. I think he's going to try to take us. I don't know what he was up to. But you could tell by he was getting more and more aggressive. And then when I told him that, and everybody watching was like, damn, he just changed like overnight. I was like, yeah, well, I said, because he realized he's being videotaped and he wouldn't be able to argue his way out of this because, I hadn't done anything wrong. I wasn't breaking any laws. I wasn't speeding or doing anything stupid. He just stopped me because he didn't see the little white tag on my dashboard. So, and they were like, oh, man, he just caught was because everybody, you could see the chat going by. We got you back. We know where you are. And I told him, you want to read what they're saying about you, dude? He's like, what? I said, they're talking about you. He's like, are they? I'm like, yeah. And he really freaked out. Then I was like, he said, well, go and get your car and get out of here. And then, be sure you fill that thing out from now on. And only one other time I got stopped out there, the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff stopped us. They wanted to search my car because they had a missing girl went missing. I'm like, sure, I popped the trunk. He's like, all right, you're good. Shut my trunk. Get on out of here. What are you going to do? You can't really argue with them because if you do, technically you're within your right to say no. They need to go get a warrant, which they got to hit hard for them to get a warrant when you haven't broken any laws. But I mean, come on, it's missing child. It's popped the trunk. It wasn't no reason to fight with him about it. Yeah, and he was cool about it. But that's it. Usually you don't see anybody out there. But I did notice this. The more I talk about a place, the more busy it gets, the less time we can go out and enjoy it. Some places we talked about Skywatch, and now they have big lights up. And some places they put fences up. But some places so many people go, it's not worth going anymore. Taught me a lesson. I'm not telling y'all any more of my secret spots.
Yeah.
Too many of them have been
compromised. You don't ever give away your fishing spots, man. And then the people will go there and catch all your fish.
Well, I was showing a picture out one afternoon. I said, well, we're going to go in and hang on. I said, that's my backyard. If I catch you in my backyard, I may shoot you. I said, my friend Martha, she doesn't like intruders. So she gets very angry when intruders come in. I said, she's a bitch. She might shoot your ass. He said, well, your girlfriend's name, your wife's name, Martha? I said, no, my gun's name, Martha.
Yeah. My Smith & Wesson.
I said, don't piss her off. And, because people want to do that. Denise, right now, currently, which is the theme of this show tonight, Joe Biden has got the lowest approval rating of any president in history. In history. He has beat any president out. And don't believe CNN when they tell you it's 44. It's not. It's 36%.
What was Carter's?
It was above 36%, apparently.
Yeah, so.
I think his was like 38%. Oh no. Trump was far above that. Trump was never in the dumps except with the liberals. His polling was always 44 to 48%, especially when you amongst independents. So he was always he actually had a good
like 52, 54.
Yeah, it's just he was doing a lot of stuff that everybody really liked. It's just the media hated on him nonstop. And just think about if they did this to Biden, he'd be crying in his coffee every morning.
He'd be sleeping in his coffee.
Yeah, he probably would be. Jen Pinsky would have done quit her job. I mean, they couldn't handle the shit that Trump's people took. And it's wrong that they even had to do it like that. And nobody, when anybody says it's definitely one-sided. Now the conservatives started buying back media now. So what they've done is Fox is now, Fox is the number one news network on cable by far. CNN's the number one news network amongst TV viewers, but not cable viewers, which the cable audience is much larger. But Fox was smart. So then One American News came along, and they're growing. And was it Newsy and Newsmax, one of them too? They're also conservative, and they're growing. They're also being sued. Newsy and One American News is being sued by the makers of the voting machine. So, and I love what One American. He said, "Well, good. Now the things we were asking about, you will have to bring in the court." He said, "Because that's going to prove what we're talking about." Mm-hmm. And just hear the lawyer who was talking about, he just went quiet, like, "Oh shit, we just got played."
Yeah.
So I don't know. Now we'll see what happens. But it looks like they got played pretty good, actually.
Yep.
Denise, I haven't seen that article. Let me see. Maybe I got it on one of the feeds I got open. Hold on. I got a few feeds open. Let's see. That's not on that feed. Let's see. Why are billionaires buying crypto? None of the billionaires I've seen are. Dems throw curveball at infrastructure vote. So Nancy Pelosi put this bill together. No one's read it, by the way. The Republicans have been talking about this for days. No one's read this bill, and it doesn't have a budget number on it. So they're not even saying how it's a reconciliation bill. So they can only do so many reconciliation bills every 2 years. I think this is the last one they can do. Then they're out until the next term. That's a bill that doesn't need 60 votes. Frankly, I think all bills in the Senate should have to have 60 votes. There should be some bipartisans to it, or it's just not a good bill.
Well, it also should also automatically be read. I mean, this is the tactic she brought in from the Obamacare incident in Obama's administration. Don't read it, just vote for it. Well, what if we put something there that's going to hurt the people? I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's absolutely irresponsible.
Well, she's been trying to sneak in that thing where they can get into your bank account and look if you spend more than $600. Now they had to drop it out the big bill because nobody was going for it. Everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And the Supreme Court had already said if you put it in there, it's going to come in front of us, and we're going to strike it down as unconstitutional. The IRS has no business being in your checking accounts unless you've committed some kind of fraud. Yeah. That's another one of those you're guilty until proven innocent. It's like roadblocks. People don't understand, but when you get stopped in a roadblock, you're being asked to prove you're innocent. So they're assuming you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent, which is illegal in this country, by the way. That's why all states get around it one way or another. Most states get around it by putting it in their local newspaper a day or two ahead of time. Louisiana, way they do it, 1 hour before a roadblock, they announce it on some obscure radio station somewhere. And but they say if you go to the state trooper's place, they'll always tell you what radio station it's going to be. 1 hour. Mississippi announces it 3 days ahead in their local newspaper. So you can always find out what the roadblocks are like. Every other 3 weeks they do it in front of my house. There's an intersection across the bayou from where I live, and they love the roadblock there. It's coming off of 2 bridges, so you're stuck. There's no way you can go. But until you show them that license or proof of whatever you are, you're guilty until proven innocent. And that's not how our country works. And that's the same thing with this bill. They want to watch what you spend because they assume you're guilty and cheating them. And it's not. That's communism, people. Socialism. I mean, I've been saying this for 10 years. The new Democratic Party is a socialist party. Y'all are ignorant and stupid and think that, it's like the cop thing. Really. So I've asked this to a million liberals. So we'll get rid of cops. What are you going to do when somebody comes and blows you up, shoot you? Let me ask you something. I asked this to a fairly wealthy friend of mine who's a big-time liberal. I said, you've got grandchildren. I said, what happens when somebody comes and blows your grandchild's brains? I can't believe it. I said, what happens? No cops. What are you going to do? I said, later on, he might come shoot another one or shoot you because there's no cops. I said, what are you going to do? Private security. I said, you might be able to. I said, the country will go back to the Wild West days in less than a year. I said, everybody would be toting guns.
Yeah, in less than a year, everybody would be carrying a gun.
And I said, it's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard. And I said, look at the cities where you've tried it. They're complete and utter disasters. Look at Seattle, what's happened to it since you tried it. It's a disaster. I said, New York tried it. New York's like, oh, we got to put our cops back and pay them. And a lot of the cities who tried it are putting like Baltimore so they're like, you know what? Oh yeah, we got to put our cops back on duty. This was a stupid failed thing. And I'll tell you what the cops in New Orleans said. They welcome psychiatric teams. The cops say this is what they've been saying for a while. 80% of the calls they go to shouldn't be them. It should be somebody else, an EMT or something like that. He said, we're cops. We're not the guy who's going to save your life, or we got EMTs for that. He said for problems like spousal abuse and stuff like that, there should be a counselor sent out with maybe a security or something. He said, but not a cop. He said, and if we could just do our job, he said, crime in every city would go down immediately because we wouldn't be running around burning all the time on bullshit calls.
I can tell you from experience, Joe, when I was in college, my first 2 years were in furthers of becoming a beat police officer. And then 2 years after that, I wanted to become a detective. And we had classes. We actually had like role-playing classes about domestic abuse situations. And you want to know what the most violent situations a cop gets into? They're domestic violence cases. What happens a lot of times is the police officers are getting there, and they now have to go in teams. So they go in teams. One officer takes the wife, one officer takes the husband, and they go to separate rooms to get the information going. Well, before that, it was one cop. One cop would go in there, and if let's say the wife was beating up on the husband, he would grab the wife and pull her away. And while he's doing that, the husband's stabbing him in the back with a kitchen knife. So almost every domestic violence case with one police officer has ended in either violence or the death of the police officer. They're the worst cases to go to. They should go in force, 3 to 4 cops, and maybe a counselor, guidance counselor, something like that to talk to them.
But see, that's what I said the first time I heard it suggested about the counselor. I said, yeah, and I said about a third or fourth time somebody's going to kill the counselor, and then what?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to be outraged. The cop wasn't there. The cop should have been there. Well, you didn't want the cop there, It's just an ignorant thing, and you just got to kind of wonder who even could remotely think not having cops are good. Only people who are wanting to break the law. That's the only people who think not having a cop.
Come up with this idea? Is it Democrats?
Well, it's definitely Democrats. Oh, what the best part was
they want to break the law.
Well, but the best part was the Democrats came up with it, and then like 5 or 4 years into this, them and CNN and Fox tried to blame it on. I mean, not Fox, CNN and NBC tried to blame it on the Republicans. Even the liberals laughed. They're like, "What? No, this is all on you." Nancy Pelosi, "Oh no, yeah, that was the Republicans." And the reporter looked up at it like, "That's not going to work, Nancy. Everybody knows it was y'all." She said, "You can say it until you're blue in the face. Nobody's going to believe you. Everybody knows it was you."
Well, I mean, it's dumb across the board, no matter what party you are. I mean, I say it all the time. The cops carry guns, and they don't carry the guns to protect you. They don't carry guns to protect me or anybody else. They carry the guns to protect themselves. Why? Because there's violent criminals out there. If they didn't have guns, they would all get killed. Every single one of them.
And they would. Oh, here's what I was talking about earlier. X demands U.S. money and delivers a dud at the GOP 26. The COP 26. Well, look, Ping, we're not giving you money. Just because you're going bankrupt, don't look to get in our money. Just stop spending money. You won't be bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a rough position now. He needs to keep building his military, or no one's going to take him serious. But when the Wuhan virus got loose, and that's what it is. The Wuhan virus got loose.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was an accident or not, he lost the faith of the whole world. And what he's not realizing is the world hasn't got around to this yet, but they're going to get to him. A lot of countries are talking about suing over this virus because they waited too long to tell people it was loose in their country. So they're wanting to hold China basically accountable for about $80 trillion. Well, what's China going to do? They ain't got the money, and they're in trouble. They're just in trouble. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they'll start a war, take over Taiwan or something.
Either way, I mean, whether this was a true accident or a designed worldwide attack, there's evidence that this virus is genetically mutated. It's been manufactured. It's not something that would occur with the natural form of COVID. It's physically manufactured. It's a manufactured virus. So more and more scientists are saying whether it's an accident or an actual attack, they're responsible 100%.
Yeah, the WHO people are still trying to say, "Oh no, it was from a bat." Well, they agree. They agree now it was from a bat, and they found that the lady who was going around getting the bats for 10 years with some U.S. money, they're pretty sure it escaped from her lab, and it was being, there were several people paying to have these viruses made bigger and better, and then find cures for them. So. It's not like this wasn't true, and they can't really get away from that. They have to deal with the fact that it does look it might have came from a bat originally, but this virus was definitely mutated into something else. And it seems to pick on type of people and stuff. It's just so I'm really thinking that we'll have to see where it all goes, but eventually the world's not going to let it go. Right now they're just dealing with it, but as soon as it's gone, they're going to be looking to reclaim money. And some country's going to start and say, "We're suing you, China," and the World Bank. And the next thing you know, every country on the planet is going to be suing them. So, China's going to be done for a while. I know the media wants to play them up in our country, but they're really going to be done for a while. Yeah, Bruce, I've seen that Waze algorithm went crazy and started sending people the wrong way. I know, huh? That's the Microsoft one the other day tried to send me to Seattle. So I asked it for Hagen Avenue. In New Orleans, and it's found Hagen Avenue in Seattle, and that's where it was taking me. And I said, "Why is this thing trying to put me on interstate? What the hell is wrong with it?" And that's what it was. No, that's a true story. Y'all can check it out. I just pulled it up. Oh, and I will never forgive y'all for the how y'all mistreated Jesse Smollett. This guy was mistreated. He should be in prison. This is a guy who paid somebody to say he was beat up, racially beat up. Oh man, remember he had the noose around his neck and stuff, and then the Chicago district attorney took off for him, and they found that he was a liar.
He should go to jail.
He should be in jail, and he's out of acting.
When you misappropriate police and other types of civil funds and civil services like that, you go to jail.
Well, that's Lori, and Lori Lightfoot shows. They showed how the government is prejudiced against whites in Chicago now, because the district attorney was black, the mayor was black, the police chief was black, and they all got behind this guy and saying, "Oh, it's just a white folk trying to hate on him," and they come to find out, no, he made a fool out of y'all is what he did. And even then, the mayor was kind of like, "Well, no, the dude played you." And everybody in the country seen you get played, and nobody's forgiving this dude. Everybody thinks he's a moron. Trudeau calls upon world leaders to make pollsters.
But who does that? Who actually pays someone to beat up? And huh?
Yeah, no, I agree. Who does that? I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, you just got to wonder what the hell. I guess his popularity was slipping. He wanted to get back in the limelight, so he wanted to say. But you know what's funny about that though? So the news media was talking about races in our country and how black and whites are always beating on each other. They couldn't find anywhere it was actually happening. So
why don't you just go crap in your pants like Joe Biden does, and you'd be all over the news?
So what they found out was in 1 year there was 14 fake racial, all of them done by black people, all of them fake. So there was the 3 girls on the bus that said they were racially harassed. Come to find out they were harassing the white girl on the bus. They were doing the harassing. There was 2 others that said they had been beat up by a cop. Video shows that they were trying to beat the cop up. I mean, it was all over the place. It was just ridiculous how bad this was in our country because they couldn't find any real racism. In the South, racism is not a thing of the past, but it's mostly a thing of the past. It's just different down here. Somebody said, "Well, why?" I said, "Well, New Orleans is a black-controlled city. Black mayor, black police chief." I said, "Everybody who's any consonants over there is black." I said, "So it evens the playing field." I said, "But it is racism because if a white judge or if a white mayor did that and had all black staff, it would be considered racism. But since she's black, it's not." Just like when Lori Lightfoot said, "Well, I only let black people interview me." Well, that's completely racist. But yet she's still serving as mayor. So it just shows you right there how racist it gets. At this point, it's time for affirmative action to go away because that's the only way you can get away with it. Without affirmative action, you've got to adhere to the same rules everybody else does. And it's on its way out, people. I hate to be the one to break your heart, but it's on its way out. So things like BETE is going to have to go away. The Black Entertainment Network is going to have to go away. You're not going to be able to hire all blacks and no whites. That'll have to stop. I'm just telling you, it's the same thing y'all were criticizing whites for, and now you're being criticized for. So don't hate on me, people. I'm not the one who does it. Oh, hold on, let me drop Jay back in. Now, it's not racist, people. It's just how it is. No, it's like everything else. So you were race discriminated for a long time. Now y'all doing a lot of discrimination now. The number one discriminator in our country is blacks by, I think, 7%, followed by, believe it or not, Native Americans. Yeah, whites on the bottom right now, right below Hispanics. And Asians are right below, in between Hispanics and us. It's a very strange thing. Now, if you go back 20 years ago, that would have been completely flip-flopped around. I don't make you look. And look, I can't help it them Yankees are racist. Don't hate on me. It's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends what city. Really it does depend what city you're on today. You have, I don't know, about a dozen big cities that are black controlled these days. All liberal cities, all doing horrible. And that's not because they're black. It's not because they're black they're doing horrible. It's because they're liberal. Yeah, it doesn't really have so much to do with the color. It has more to do with the politics. Yeah, look, I don't make the rules.
Yeah.
Well, think about New Orleans mayor. She's from Compton, California, and she's the mayor of New Orleans. And right as she's starting to run for election, she got busted for credit card fraud, but yet still managed to win the mayor election. Yeah, don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't even
Well,
go.
if you remember back to D.C., Mayor Marion Barry actually went to prison for drug and prostitution charges. While he was mayor, he was convicted of these prostitution and drug charges. He goes to jail, does his term, and comes back, voted right back in as city mayor. So it goes to show you, it doesn't matter what you do. No matter how corrupt you are, it doesn't matter what crime you do. If the people like you, you're getting back in, period.
Um, Trudeau, we're not going to do carbon taxes. Forget it. You're just trying to make some money. Carbon taxes don't go to anybody but make people rich. We found that out with Al Gore. Oh, well, we need to pay Al Gore. The guy who's talking about, by the way, in case you don't know, everything in Al Gore's 2 movies turned out to be completely false.
Yep.
All his globe and false, and not just them. All of the world's claims that said all this stuff, because in 2000, say by 2013, all the ice will be, oh, nope, it's not melted. And the southern ice caps are growing, by the way. So, no, they've been completely wrong. It's not that I don't think the planet's changing. I agree that there's changes going on. I don't agree it's all based on mankind, but there's definitely changes going on. And we should be paying attention. But you've been wrong every time.
Mm-hmm.
And then NOAA got caught taking temperatures outside the thruster port. So they were putting the thermometers in where their side thrusters are to make the ship go side to side. So the water was heated. Yeah, some bullshit. And they admitted to it too. They got caught and they admitted to it. And they said, oh, well, we just thought it'd be the best place. Well, the water's like 5 degrees warmer there. Why did you think it'd be the best place? And then they found out that the algorithm doing this didn't agree with their outcome.
Uh-huh.
So then they started saying, well, we're in a global warming hiatus. We're parked. Then they got another algorithm that tried to say, look, anytime you got to try that hard to prove a point, your point's not correct. Not to say there's not stuff going on, because the weather down here has changed. It hasn't got hotter. It's actually gotten cooler. But for some of my friends up north, it's gotten warmer.
We've talked about it all the time. We actually talked about it tonight on Jeffrey's show. Global warming isn't something that we created, isn't something that is because of us. It's not something that's because of our technology. Does our technology add to it? Sure. Yeah, to some degree, but it's not the main cause. The main cause of global warming is a natural event, a natural effect of our atmosphere. It's been going on since before humans, since before the dinosaurs. As soon as the atmosphere formed on this planet billions of years ago, this planet has gone through cycles of hot and cold, back and forth. There's no getting around it. There's no way of stopping it. And if we do stop it, we might be dooming our own selves and the entire planet to extinction. It's just stupid to try and stop a natural process of nature.
It is. Let's see. House passes $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, the largest transportation package in the U.S., which most people say very little of it's going to transportation, by the way. I think 1/10 of it is. So, this is the one where the GOP helped them out in the Senate and helped them out in the House. This isn't the 3.5 trillion one, the one they keep cutting down. This is a whole different one. So we'll see where this ends up. Yeah, Biden's not going to be able to take credit for it because without the Republicans, they wouldn't have it. They couldn't get enough of their party members to get the bill through. This other one that Manchin and Sense is holding up, Manchin and Sense, I don't know if they're going to get it passed or not. They thought they could the other night, but they decided not to. And this bill here, AOC and them were holding them up on for a while. So now, if they've changed anything, it'll have to go back to the Senate. And then I don't know if they'll get the same vote they did before, because a lot of people came down on them and said they should make this a reconsideration bill. That way it cuts them out from doing any more for this year. So, yeah, well, I kind of think it's cheating when you don't have some of the other people saying the bill's good. At least this one's bipartisan. So, this provides billions of electrical vehicles charging stations. Billions of electrical vehicles. Where are they billions of? Where planet are they coming from? I doubt there's even a million
Not this
on
one.
the whole planet. Yeah, I don't know. That's some kind of crack. So, let's talk about electric vehicles. Let's wait. First off, let's break this down easy for y'all. So, one windmill, one windmill. The big windmills you see, is its carbon footprint is about the size of a V6 car running for 5 years. For 5 years. And I'm sorry, it's 10 V6 cars running for 5 years. So a solar panel farm, one solar panel is equal to about 15 or 20 cars. One solar panel. And then it's worse. So electric cars use lithium for their batteries. Well, lithium is gotten by what? Strip mining. So they go to Afghanistan and they strip mine the lithium. Then they send it to Japan where it's refined. Then they send it to, I forgot what country, where it's turned into a battery. Then it's sent back to whoever's building the car, and then it's installed. So just the battery footprint alone on any electric car is equivalent to 10 cars running for 10 years. Because you have to, they're running ships back and forth. So
Wow.
they take a big freighter ship from Afghanistan, and they sail it all the way down to Japan, and then they sail it all the way back to the United States, and they sail it all the way back to Japan, and that's fit. Now the cars are built, and they got to sail it all the way back to the United States again. And that's not any of the strip mining or anything else that's involved in the equipment that it takes, like copper and stuff like that. That's all strip mine materials. It's just a Tesla's footprint. You'd have to run a Tesla for 100 years to make up what it would cost you to make 10 regular cars and the carbon footprint they make. Tesla's carbon footprint is enormous. And what's even worse is during this COP26 meeting, they were 400 private jets. So the carbon footprint of that one meeting is about the equivalent of the state of New York for a week.
Wow.
Yeah, we're really trying. Yeah, why didn't they all get on one plane and fly over there? Oh, yeah, they want to talk about that.
Let me tell you my only thing about the legislation only good legislation I've heard about on the electric cars is making them sound like they have a V8 engine. Because some of these things are so quiet. There are people getting run over left and right in parking lots and leaving and entering stores because they don't hear, especially old people. They don't hear the car. They don't make enough noise. They're running over people's pets, running over dogs and cats and other animals,
Yeah,
animals.
they're
Make it sound like a car.
they're taking a thing from a Toyota. Toyota. So if you drive a Camry or Avalon, any of the Toyota's faster cars, they're really, really, really quiet. So when you punch it, you don't hear anything. So they put in a fake engine sound. It sounds badass when you punch it, like woo. It sounds mean, but it's not the real sound of the engine. It's fake.
But it's an audible cue to someone walking across the street, like, oh shit, there's a car there. When before you wouldn't hear it.
Yeah, it is a weird thing, people. But unfortunately, right now, any electric car is equivalent to about 10 or 12 carbon cars.
That's just shocking to me.
It's just ridiculous the amount of difference it is. It's just one of those things.
So who's pushing the agenda to make these things like the new clean device?
Everybody who wants to make money.
Yeah. Okay. Toyota.
So all these companies are saying, well, we're going to have this is the other part y'all aren't thinking about. So one of Toyota's cheap electric cars will set you back about 55 G's. And the Prius is a piece of crap.
Yeah,
it's slow, it's sluggish, and it's not even a real electric car. It's a hybrid. It's got a gas engine in it and an electric engine. And this thing, to make one of these cars, I imagine the carbon footprint of the thing is huge.
Have you seen the brake lights on these things?
Yeah, it's just.
I was following into work the other day. The brake lights are so small you can barely. It looked like a blinker to me. I thought the guy was blinking to turn right. It's his brake light.
Yeah, it's just the cars are just
crap.
And don't get me wrong, Teslas are nice, but then there's the other problem. Teslas don't just charge up in 5 minutes. So you stop to get gas, it takes you all about 10 minutes. You go another 500 miles. So even on a fast charge Tesla, it's at least an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you stop, so you're driving out to California, you're going to have to stop, and it's at 400 miles. So you're going to have to stop that car about 14 times. So that's 14 extra hours you've added to this trip. When in a gas car, it'd only be about an hour and a half extra. Mm-hmm. Really, there's a lot of big advantages. And then what happens? You're cruising in the desert and you get caught in traffic. Like down here, there's lots of wrecks. So you got half of your charge. Now you're sitting in traffic for 2 hours. You've probably depleted your charge. And what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Well, a gas engine would still just be putt-putt, so it wouldn't be burning any gas.
The best example I have is when I was in college, I drove from Rockville, Maryland to Savannah, Georgia. It's about a 11-hour drive. I made it a 12-hour drive. It took me 2 tanks. And when my gas tank was about empty, I would pull over for like an hour to rest, get something to eat, refill, and like you said, refill the tank 5-10 minutes. You know, you might spend extra time in the gas station's convenience store getting snacks and things for the road. But 1 hour added to my trip just to relax, eat, refuel my car, refuel my brain, stretch my back out, and then back down the road for my finish of my 12-hour drive. You do that with an electric car, you're probably going to go, what, 4 hours maybe before you have to stop and charge?
Yeah,
And a 12-hour drive, that's 3 charge. That's another 3 hours.
Yeah, I think they're talking about. I think they said about anywhere from 350 to 450. It has a lot to do with how you drive and if you got your AC on. See, in the old days, it mattered in a gas car, but today it doesn't matter if you're running AC or not. It's going to change your gas mileage any.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't affect it at all.
You know, if I drive my Camry like a crazy person, I get 30 miles a gallon. If I drive it like a normal person, I get 36 miles a gallon.
Yeah, I'm driving a Camry too, 36, 37 miles a gallon.
You know, and people, and your friend of mine said, "Well, you get a four." I said, "You got it." I said, "Y'all don't understand. A 4-cylinder Camry is just badass. They'll do 140 miles an hour. Probably, plus, mine's got the built-in shift. I got the flappy panels on and stuff.
Yeah, mine does too.
Fun to drive.
Mine's push stick, but yeah,
it's fun to drive. I got to say, you know,
well,
I got the stick. Yeah, I got the stick too. But for some reason, they added the flap. I guess whoever got it wanted the flappy panels added to it.
The paddle.
I didn't even know they were there when I bought the car. Right, I'm driving around. And I'm like, what the fuck is these? I thought
Why
they
did
were
my car
changing
go
the
down to
radio.
third?
Yeah, no, I thought it was like something to change the radio, like you find in cattle. I jumped it, did it. It went down. I'm like, it's downshifting? What the hell's going on? And then, because it'll downshift. If you put it in sport mode, it'll downshift no matter what. But for some reason, you start playing with the flappy panels, they'll downshift even not in sport mode. So you got to watch that. But one thing I noticed about these transmissions, they will not let you over rev them. So once you hit a certain torque, it shifts no matter what. Mm-hmm. Even in sports mode, it'll still shift. But I was surprised. In fourth gear, I can get that car up to 120, and I still got 2 more gears. So yeah, I took it to the track. I got it up to 146 with a 4-cylinder, people. With a 4-cylinder.
Yeah, so, my V6 Camaro wouldn't go that fast.
Now, a friend of mine bought the 2017 V6. We've got it up to 168, and we ran out of track. I think it'll do about 174. They're fast as hell. And the best part is I'm racing. They had 2 Dusters, really nice ones, cruising along, V8s in them. So we got into traffic, right? I just left them. They couldn't. My car went from 80 to 105 in no time at all. And it was surprised how much pickup I had. And by then, I was in the traffic. I'm a little smaller than them. And them Camrys handle like you just, I got to say, I was quite impressed with this car. I've owned a lot of cars in my day. And I've owned a few Toyotas over the years, and the Corolla kind of sucked. And
if you get the high-end Corollas, they're pretty good.
Oh yeah, you get the high-end Corolla. Yeah. I agree.
Toyota Corolla S with a 5-speed or 6-speed.
The one I had was a special made one. The engine was special. It was a typical Corolla, but State Trooper owned it, and it had a different type engine in it. It was fast as hell. Okay. I should have never gave my son like I wrecked it twice, and then. But then, so what got me on the Camry was I had rented a car, and it was a 2019 Camry. I said, man, this car is nice. It handled nice, it drove nice, but it's a little tad bit wider than the one I got right now. I got a 2015, 2016 right now. And it's a little now, I think it's an inch smaller on the width, but it makes a difference. But look, I've had this car at 110 going through turns. It just handles like a dream. I got a little bit wider tire on it because I like to drive fast. But, oh, man, I'm telling y'all, people, this car is designed to take turns. It's just whoever put it together so people could have fun with it.
Yeah, I've got 2021, and it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, man. The new ones are just fabulous. The V6s, even the V4s. The V4s are fabulous. I can tell you that now. You can buy a Camry from 2015 to 2021. You will not be disappointed by the 4-cylinder engine.
And they're calling it a mid-size sedan. Mine's big enough for 4 really big humans. Mm-hmm. I mean,
well, that's what they're considered mid-size.
You get 3 small humans, you can probably get 3 in the back and 2 up front, but it's big inside.
Yeah, the Avalon's a little bit bigger. And I got the sports version. I got the ST. I wanted the STX, but they didn't have one at the time, so I got the ST. But the LX is just the LX has hubcaps on. It's got a smoother ride. It doesn't have the tight suspension. It's more of a luxury car. It's considered.
Yeah, I've got an LXE. It's more of a luxury car.
And they are. And then
$20,000 luxury car.
But people don't understand that little E on the end makes a difference, or that little X on the end. So it's an LEE on the luxury and the STX on the sport. That low third letter people makes a difference in the suspension, the performance of the engine, the interior. Oh, I got the black leather with the red button. I mean the red so strip through. Oh,
The
it's
red,
pretty.
the red
Yeah,
sewing,
it's
yeah.
pretty. It's pretty. I got to say they developed a nice car here, and I've had some Toyotas I hated. What got me on the Toyotas, I bought my wife a RAV4. It was like the second year I had them, and I took this car. I had this car going up the side of mountains almost straight up. This car was a beast. Four. I mean, it was only a four cylinder, but that thing would climb. I actually, I was going through this back road one time, and the mud got really bad, so I had it in 4 wheel drive. But it's always in 4 wheel drive, and it kicked in. It kicks in on its own, and it's just Dodge. This big old Dodge 1500 got stuck, and I backed up to him and said, "Hook me." He said, "There's no way you can pull me out with that little car." I said, "Trust me, dude." So I hooked him up. I started giving it a little gas. All 4 wheels caught, and he's pulled him right out. He's like, "What the hell, you guys?" I got a 4 cylinder. I said, "But it's a 4 wheel drive 4 cylinder, and it's a true 4 wheel drive." And I said, "You see, I got these big 17-inch tires on it." So it was nice. But you know what them Rams had that the new ones don't? So if you're like, they were made for like cafe racing. I mean, for dirt cafe racing. So if you get in Mountain Hill, you could actually get under the car and adjust the suspension to manual. So if you got like hung up in a rock, you could take it so one side would be high and the other would climb. It was great. You climb. It was stuff. My son surprised the first time I took him out in it. We went to a parade and I parked it in a ditch like this, facing down, way down in a ditch. He said, never. I said, don't worry about it. And we come out, backed right out. Everybody's like, how in the hell? I said, the car's just a beast, man. I said, I was amazed by this little car. So, and we put it was still running when I got rid of it. We put 287,000 miles on it and we sold
Wow.
it. And it was still running. AC, everything was running. It's a great little car. I'd had the struts all, I mean, not the struts, the CV joints all changed out, but I was surprised.
So
So that kind of hooked me.
890 model?
It was like a 89 or 90 model. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
one. It
it's
was
the
right at
early,
the
early
beginning.
ones, yeah.
Yeah. And you can tell them when you see them. The green had the ski racks that came with them on top. I don't know why they had ski racks. I was like, not like you go skiing down here, but
It's a selling point, Joe.
it is a selling point. And I changed the stereo out. I put a high end stereo system in it, and because I wanted some. Back then, the only way you could put your phone on is if you had one of them FM things plugged in. But I had one with the scan disc reader, so I could just put 1,000 songs on scan disc and plug it in. And people, we talking about cars. Well, they got a lot of cars. The RAV4's new ones are nice. I just don't like the body style. That's they don't look like
They've changed over the years.
They don't really look like a 4 wheel drive you go taking in the mud. They look more like a SUV you take your family.
It's a crossover. It's a crossover SUV now.
Now the Beamer X, the midsize Beamer. Oh man, I like that car. That midsize. Oh, that XUV is nice. It's also 4 wheel drive, but it's 4 wheel drive with a V8. Yeah, it's got some rumble bumble to it. But you got to remember when you're racing cars or doing things, just because you got a V8 don't mean you're going to be faster because you're carrying way more weight.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the engine. Usually the car they put in V8 is quite a bit heavier, so it kind of balances out. That's why the boys in the Darts and Dusters were surprised when they couldn't catch me. They were like, "What the heck?" Because I rented one. Actually, I had to leave my car for something, and they sent me a white one out. I was like, "Oh man!" Oh no, I was having some work done. My son tore the front end off of it, so they put me in this Duster, which it sounded badass, and it'd get to 110, 120 pretty fast. But it didn't feel like it got that much faster. I mean, it didn't handle near as well as my car did. I think it handled like a tank, but bouncing around on the highway and shit. I was like, no, it's a pretty car. And I know why y'all muscle car people like it. Catholic bishop calls wakeness a identity politics pseudo religion. So he's calling wokeness a pseudo religion. You quote wokeness. And then AOC tried to tell somebody wokeness is only used by old people. Really? I've heard you use it like 40 times.
Yeah.
I mean, you should think about it before you run your mouth. The moment has come for Biden and Pelosi to close a deal on his sweeping agenda. Whatever. It's not going to happen.
They're not going to give up the ball. They got the
ball.
Oh,
wait. Philadelphia is taking on driving. I'm not even going to read that article. Democrat diversity intensifies as party bickers over Biden's agenda. So, yeah, they've been in disarray for a while now. It doesn't matter that he passed this bill. It doesn't even matter he got a good jobs report. It's not going to pull his numbers out. No, the man falls asleep when he's places. He says stupid shit. He mumbles like, blah, 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 blah.
He apparently crapped all over himself in Rome. I mean, how do you get away from that? I mean, you're a grown man and you've gone to the potty on yourself in a conference with Roman officials. I mean, Vatican officials. Come on.
He's an idiot. Well, people, y'all elected him. I didn't. Biden, Obama, Bush among those at Colin Powell's funeral. Who cares?
Yeah, really.
Uh,
So that's just going to be a
I always
game.
thought he was a traitor to his party, so I'm never liking people like that. Progressives leave Black Caucus leader waiting outside meeting. They just discriminate against their own party. I never understood why. And look, liberals, don't take this the wrong way, but I've never understood black people why you were ever a Democrat. Let me see. They voted against freeing the slaves. Remember, Lincoln was a Republican. Okay, when the Republicans wanted to give y'all more laws, more rules and more freedoms, the Democrats voted for what? Jim Crow. Remember, they did this. The last founder and the first founder of the KKK are Democrats, and still are. And Democrats don't want to help you. Let me ask you this, and I love this when Trump did this. Tell me what the Democrats have done for you lately. All they do is want to give you free stuff and get you on welfare so that you have to vote for them. They're not interested in helping you out. Why are there more millionaires that are Republicans and Democrats? That should tell you something. Then when it comes to finances, I don't know, because there's quite a few wealthy liberals, but it seems like when it comes to running the country's finances, they're morons.
But wasn't General Grant also a Democrat?
Yeah, see that's the whole problem. A lot of the people people repel against the Republicans for are not the Republicans are the one that freed the brothers. They're the ones that got you free rights to vote. They got pretty much everything that blacks have today come from the Republican Party, but for some reason you get blindly and follow the liberals. That makes no sense to me.
Mm.
Even though it's changing now, I'm finding quite a few blacks have come out as conservatives lately. Big names that come out as conservatives. Snoop, Kanye West, of course, his wife, but there's been a lot more besides that that's changing. And Trump pulled the biggest black vote in history. I think was his first time was 12%. I think it's either 18 or 22%. And Biden pulled a very low black vote. That's why nobody could understand how he won. He had the lowest black vote in the last 20 years, the lowest Hispanic vote in the last 50. He also had low white turnout, but yet somehow he broke a record at 83 million.
Voter fraud.
Even European did a thing on it. And they said they just don't believe it.
Yeah, it's rigged. Something went wrong there. Almost everything that everyone bitches about, they don't go back in history and look at it. They're like, oh, well, the southern states they all had slaves. Most of the southern states had freed their slaves before the Civil War. The rest of them
but they
during
don't
the war,
understand.
and then it was like, was it Virginia and Maryland and all the northern states didn't free their slaves until 1865 or 1868?
Yeah, there was a lot of
After the
misnomers
war.
about it. Was a lot of misnomers about it. Because people thought, I remember when I black freedom Montana, well, there was no slaves in the North. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? There were slaves in the United States, not just in the United States, all around the planet.
Yeah,
I was like, who? I said, who told you? I said, the Lincoln used that as a way to get his agenda pushed. He just didn't think it was going to split the country the way it did. And I said, you got to remember, the war wasn't over freeing the slaves. Everybody forgets that. The Civil War didn't have anything to do with freedom. I said the North wasn't fighting about that. The North was fighting control over the Southern money, and the South was fighting them not giving them their money. That's what it was
also
all
about how
about.
they were governing their own states. They weren't able to govern their own states, and the problem is that, and the reason why the South lost is all the industry was up in the North. All the agriculture was down in the South. So all the fabrics and all the clothes manufacturing and all that was down south, and all the gun manufacturing and the train manufacturing and machinery manufacturing was all up in the North. So there was no way that the South was ever going to win. They just wanted to prove a point. Hey, we want to govern our states the way we want our states governed, not by the way you want them governed. And that's really the main thing, is that they just weren't being governed the way they wanted to be.
Actually, Jimmy, they freed the slaves so that Lincoln could have more troops. Because actually, in the first year and a half, the North was actually losing the war, and pretty badly.
Yeah.
But because the Southerns actually had a more tactical advantage. But Jay's right. After a while, when you start losing stuff, it has to be replaced. And even though they had the French helping them, and one of the other countries helping, they just couldn't get what they needed. And frankly, I think somewhere along the line, they just lost their will to fight. Too many people were dying. It was too many brothers against brothers, cousins against cousins. There's too many people dying. The war was affecting the country in a way that most wars don't.
Yeah, and you're right. Brother to brother, father to father, all kinds of stuff. The two biggest battles of the Civil War are right near me. Antietam is the biggest battle for deaths in one day, And right across, right about 30 minutes from me now in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, is the largest deaths in the battle for 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, at Antietam, I think it was like 50,000, 60,000 people died in one day. In Gettysburg, it's like 50,000 that died in one battle, 3 day long battle. We don't have, even Hiroshima and Nagasaki together don't add up to 50,000 people dead in one battle.
Actually, Denise, there was still a lot of battles being fought, and they were fought all over the South. Once the war got down here, the problem is everybody was losing. It didn't matter what side you wanted. Everybody was losing troops by the shitloads.
Yeah.
Coming down the South and sending armies down here to fight the Southerners was suicide. They were outnumbered 5-1, but the Southerners were killing 3 out of every 5. So for the North to win, it was an expensive. I'm not talking about money wise. I'm talking about lives. It's a very expensive profit.
It's It's one of the first wars, if not the first war, where modern firearms were the main weapon. The battles before that, where you have swords and halberds and horse cavalry, and some handguns or some flintlocks and matchlocks. But this was the first real repeater rifle type of firearm.
Actually, Michael, the South didn't need to win the war. No, I wouldn't. The problem is because with the Union winning the war, the country stayed intact. If the South would have won the war, they wouldn't have took the North. They didn't like the North. It would have been two countries there.
It would have been split.
Yeah, and it would have been a whole different setup than it is today. So, no, that's the only way it could play out, and that was the way it needed to play out. And it played out that way, and then something changed in the last 50 years. So the North was always considered not to be racist like the West Coast and Upper East Coast, but then that's changed now. Now the South isn't the racist place. The North is. The North and the East Coast is extremely racist. Even though they tell you they're not, if you look by the stats, they're actually way more racist than anywhere else is. Again, it's because Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, and Texas, black populations are huge. They're and places like Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, like 44 to 46% of the state's population. So it's different. Everybody had to learn to get together. It was either learn how to get along with each other or start a new war in each state. So we just decided we don't want to kill each other, and we all learned to get each other. And you'll find out something that's very interesting about the South. There's hardly any black on white or white on black crime, but there's hardly any race of any kind against any other race. Now, by saying that, white on white crime is stupid and black on black crime is stupid, especially in the city of New Orleans. They're not killing each other; they're killing their own, gang related, drug related, mafia related, whatever the hell it might be. That's what's going on. But they're not going over killing somebody because they're black. That's not how it works anymore. Not at least in the South. I can't talk about up north, but it's not how it works in the South anymore. But again, it's because the populations. So to put this in perspective, 88% of all black people in the country live in 5 states in the South. That should explain to you. And the worst part is a bunch of people from New Orleans moved up to Chicago about 30 years ago because it was a better place, supposed to be less racist. All of them have come home saying the same thing. Chicago is ridiculously racist now. And we're not talking about poor people. These are wealthy people. One was they went up there as attorneys. They stayed up there at a great practice. And they said all of a sudden, he said, people we knew for years all of a sudden became racist. He said, I don't know if they had just been acting or what, but he said friends of ours that we knew were just racist all of a sudden. So they said we came home. And it's just a different world. Yeah, it's weird how America works because it's like blocks and blotches where you find stuff now. Oh, no, the South's not perfect by any means, baby. Political corruption down here is beyond belief. Yeah, it's stupidly bad. Let's see what this says. To explain the Democrats' poor performance in state and local elections Tuesday, various commentators have made very specific claims. It was mostly about critical race theory, mostly about Terry McCullen's flaws. A candidate for no. Critical race theory did play a big part in this because how do you go around telling people, white kids, that they're evil and black kids that they're inherently lost and will never turn into anything? I mean, who'd even thought that was a good idea? And this is a liberal thing, people. Again, we got liberals running around telling this to young black kids and young white kids. First off, what happened to the Asian kids and Hispanic kids? We're just discriminating against them for shits and giggles. It's not the truth, ladies and gentlemen. You know, being black in this country 30 years ago was way harder than it is today, and most of my black friends live just like I do or better. You know, the neighborhoods aren't all black anymore. They're either black and white. They're diversified. New Orleans did something that no city in the country has done yet. It got rid of all its projects and rebuilt really nice properties in its place. 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom townhouses. Some of them go to poor people, some of them go to rich people. They've got stores built into them. Some of them have malls built on top of them. They're really nice. And by living there, it shows you how life can really be. No more ghettos, no more rat infested, drug infested ghettos. That's all being taken out of our city. And it's made a difference, at least in those neighborhoods. Yeah, they had projects here that were shit. A mile across, a mile by a mile, probably got 50,000 people living in the damn things. It's not like that anymore. They only hold not quite half of what the original ones held. Yeah, it's different, and they're way pretty. I have to show you one time. It's just nice. It's like living uptown. It's nice, and you can hear it in people's voices. It's changing who they are and what they are.
Yeah, I mean, you treat your citizens like citizens, and then they don't sound like uneducated people that are angry at the system.
Yeah, well, oh, you know what, Glenn? One of the things that helped in Virginia was they pissed off. See, everybody forgets about the white suburban mom in elections. They're a huge block in the country. I mean, a huge block. Critical race theory is pissing them all off. Oh, yeah. No, it's pissing them off more than the Texan abortion laws. It's pissing them off. They don't like their kids being told that they're nothing and that they're not going to amount to anything, whether they're black or white. That's just, and whoever thought that was a good thing was just ignorant. Well, it just shows if you don't pay attention to our politicians what they will try to portray. Well, that's like AT&T. I don't use AT&T anymore because they told white people to act more like black people. They're being sued, by the way, by all kind of people. Yeah, I mean, what kind of ignorant statement is that?
It's not wise.
It's stupid. No, because people are people, and this is what I mean by this. Yes, in the old days you'd find things to develop, and so down here, black or white, you're living in these neighborhoods, you're basically the same kind of people. You're going to work every day, you're feeding your kids, you're taking them to school, you're doing whatever you're doing, you're going to concerts or whatever. It's just, you're not black or white, it's just being people. That's the difference down here. We don't really call anybody black and white anymore, we just call you people. The news media always has to identify you as black or white unless it's a black person who committed a crime, and then they won't use the word black. Don't ask me. It's just ignorant. In NBC, actually, CNN has become the most ignorant, and I used to love CNN. Doing Desert Storm, I fell in love with them, and then they just became a shithole.
Because it was the first time we saw a war happen live on television. That was like the coolest thing when they attacked Baghdad. It was like maybe a 3-hour delay because of the time difference, but we were watching our F-17s fly over Baghdad while Baghdad was shooting tracers to try to shoot our planes down while we're bombing the crap out of their city. It was like Star Wars live.
No, I know it was strange. Democrats are getting crushed in the vibe war. Of course they are, because Biden's an idiot, and you keep trying to defend an idiot. Right. I mean, that's just how it works. Biden administration gives vaccination deadline for Border Patrol. So the way it's looking right now between the Secret Service and Border Patrol, it's looking like about half of our law enforcement from the higher end to the lower end is getting ready to walk off the job.
Wow.
They're not going to take the vaccinations. And you'd be surprised. So last year, most people in the news don't talk about this, but last year, 25% of truck drivers, school teachers, and not EMT, emergency workers retired last year. They took early retirement. So we're already down that much in all of these fields. And now you got school teachers saying, like 1/3 of them now saying, no, we're not going to take the vaccination virus. Well, because it's an illegal firing.
If you look at it, most of our police forces and Border Patrol, almost all of them are usually populated with ex-military guys that are still young enough to continue that kind of high-stress job. And when they're in the military, what do you think happened to them then? They're ordered to take these various vaccines, especially if they're going out of country.
Oh, yeah.
And, after a while, you don't want to be jabbed anymore. You're just like, look, screw it. I don't care. I'm a private citizen now. I'm a police officer. I'm a Border Patrol officer. I ain't taking no mandatory vaccination. And I agree with them 100%.
It's and I just don't really think they would need. When I was in the Navy, people, I remember my first day of vax. So we got in line. And they were using air guns, right? And each vial had like 3 different things. So they'd hit us, and you go down next. My first day, I had 21 shots. Man, I was sick for 3 days. And then the next time, they gave us malaria and something else, which didn't really make me sick. It made me high, actually. I felt all. But at least the Navy gives you off a day or 2 afterwards and make sure you're okay. But I remember the malaria one. I was like, wow, what the hell did they give me? And they all together, I think, for including the OVDs, shots, it was well over 100 shots, well over. And in your contract, which most people never read, it says they have the right to experiment on you. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, if you've been ordered to do it, yeah, you have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Give wake up call by dismissal election results. What? I must have read that wrong. People, y'all, all I can say, if you're a Dem, you're regretting the 2024 election coming up. You're in trouble. As it's looking right now, it's going to be a landslide.
Might as well vote Republican if you're a Democrat in 2024.
Might as well.
You might as well. If you want your guy to win, don't vote for him.
Let's see, man. I don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Majority of U.S. workers to fall under vaccine mandate on January 4th. Biden, you're going to laugh half the country. How stupid are you? But this happened under Obama. They just kept on going, and they couldn't understand why everything kept collapsing around them because America got tired of it. You're not a dictator. You're the president. You can't, and I don't care what anybody says. All these mandates are going to end up in court, and all of them are going to be overturned because there's nobody has the right to tell us we have to get a vaccination. That's just illegal.
First of all, he's not even a medical professional. How can he tell us we have to do this? He doesn't know anything about medical.
When they got Pfizer, all its mandates, all its clearances, because it's not mandated. Why should we have to take it? I mean, it's not being cleared yet. But everybody's saying the same thing because the other day Pfizer, well, it's perfectly safe, and the guy put his hand up. He said, "How can you say that? You don't know what's going to happen 8 or 10 years down the line." He said, "Well, that's true." He said, "Well, ask me this: have any other thing going right?" He said, "Well, that's true too." I said, "So," he said, "So why should we give it to our kids again?" He said, "In the beginning, I said not to give it to the kids. Of course, I said not to wear a mask. Nothing." I said, "Y'all were confused." He said, "Well, so again, why should I give it to my kid?" He said, he asked the guy, he said, "What's the death rate amongst children?" 0.1%. So he was like, again, why are we giving it to our children? And he said, and you have never, he said, y'all won't admit it, but we do know that vaccinated people can carry it around and give it to other people. He said so. And then it was funny because I mentioned this the other day at one of the local meetings. I said, well, look, if you're going to ask me for my Vax card, then everybody in the restaurant should be wearing their Vax card where you can see it.
Yeah, so I don't know you check everybody else.
Yeah. I said, so I can be comfortable with it. Democrats' extremist gift for future Republicans. What? Oh, what could this be? More thing about money. So, I asked a liberal friend of mine this about, well, we got to tax the rich. I said, you're ignorant. No, we got to tax the rich, Joe. It's a way to do it. I said, let me ask you something. I said, what do you think Jeff Bezos is going to do when his tax goes up 15%? He's going to pay it. I said, yeah, he's going to pay it. I said, but you know what? Amazon's going to go up from $99 a year to $159 a year. Everything's going to go up. I said, because they're not going to eat it. We're going to eat it. There's no rich tax cut that doesn't get turned on to the people. I said this before. I said, if you're going to put money on the rich like this, then you have to pass a bill that says they can't let it roll downhill. Because if you don't, it's going to roll downhill to us like it always does. Why do you think Coke's, you guys, when I was young, a Coke cost 25 cents. Some bitch is $2.75 now. I mean, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And it's just, we got to stop it.
When I started driving, gas was 89 cents a gallon. A package of cigarettes was $1.05, including tax, and a 6-pack of Milwaukee's Best, which was the cheapest, crappiest beer on the market, was $2.35 plus tax. I could go to the gas station with $10, walk away with a full tank of gas, a 6-pack of beer, and a package of cigarettes, and change.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
Oh, no, it ain't now.
You cannot do that anymore.
I mean, gas down here is $3 a gallon right now.
We're at, I can't see the sign of the gas station right. We're at like $3.59, $3.60 up here. Cigarettes are approaching $9. Marlboros are $9 a pack plus tax. Mine are like $7.18 after tax. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So the smokers who are addicted to these things got screwed over by the federal government and the lawyers. So the state's got some money, the lawyers got some money, and you got to pay for it. Oh, you should just quit smoking. If it was that easy, people would just quit smoking, but it's not. I said, so you took people who are addicted to something and taxed them out. That should be completely illegal.
Yeah. I've actually spoken to heroin addicts who have said, and I quote, "I have had an easier time getting off of heroin than the cigarettes."
Cigarettes
So
ain't
what's the
easy. I
gateway
gave them up,
drug?
but they're not easy.
Yeah, the
You
gateway
know,
drug is cigarettes. It's not
it
marijuana. It's
is
not
cigarettes.
heroin. It's
It's never
cigarettes
been
and alcohol.
marijuana.
It's the gateway drug.
Cigarettes and alcohol. That's what
Yeah.
the gateway drugs are. And I know from experience that's what they are.
So do I.
Biden administration defends controversial payments to illegal immigrants. So y'all heard this, right, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, this is
They want to give
disgusting.
all of Trump's illegal immigrants $450 per person. So each kid gets it. The mom and dad gets it. We're
Yeah.
talking like $1.5 million for every family.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not going to get it. You're going to pay for it, you dumb Americans.
Yeah.
So,
we've already
so
paid for it.
So we're going to give people who illegally broke into our country, bringing drugs and disease and everything else, and we're going to pay them for the privilege.
Yeah. I'm not paying. Well, I've already paid, so I mean, not much I can do
Well,
about it.
I mean, that's the problem. The liberal voters, even though they got 83 million votes somehow or another, their voting numbers have been dropping for the last decade, which is why everybody was amazed when they hit this crazy number. So Trump had the largest amount of blacks ever voted for the GOP, largest amount of Hispanics, largest amount of Asians, most votes of any president except for the guy who beat him. But he still lost.
Yeah, he still lost.
Yeah. Nobody's really believing it anymore. It's hard, and I don't really care. Like I said,
something isn't floating the boat there. I mean,
I heard once I realized what he said when they were going to challenge these other two states. Once they found that Arizona and Michigan had really fallen for Trump, they were going to go after Pittsburgh and one of the other states, which would have. Technically, Biden doesn't even have the presidency. You take the two states that they proved that belong to Trump, that doesn't give Biden enough votes votes to be president. But Trump don't want to mess with it. He said with the other two would actually give it to Trump. But again, he said no. I don't want 2 years. I want 4 years. I know what Trump's after. Trump's going to bring in DeSantis, either governor of Florida, governor of Texas. They're looking for 12 years. So Trump's looking at 4 years to get his agenda going, and 8 turn it over to somebody else that's like him, like Santos. So the next 8 years, that's what they're after, people. Whether it works out, I don't know. But I'm telling you, I will be personally protesting the street. We start giving $450,000 to illegals. Matter of fact, that day I'm gonna go jump over the fence and jump back over. I'm illegal. Where's my check? And I start speaking Spanish. I want my money.
Yeah. And what did we get from the COVID relief monies? $4,000, $3,600, whatever.
It's worse than that. So Biden's going to let in 2 million illegals this year. We found out for a fact that 1/3 of them were carrying COVID. He was depositing them all. Florida had 3 cities they deposited in. New Orleans. Matter of fact, a lot of the places in the South that had high COVID numbers, they had been large numbers of immigrants deposited here. New Orleans got 7,000 of them, and half of them had COVID. And the way I found out, I was sitting in my doctor's office one day, and I had to walk by like 300 Mexicans to get in there. And I said, what the hell's going on? So I'm talking to a security girl, and she said, I'm giving COVID tests. I said, you're not even a nurse. She said, yeah, but she said, in the last 3 days, we had been through almost 5,000 illegals. She said, at least half of them tested positive.
Wow.
So, and they're walking around the city of New Orleans like nothing, no mask, no nothing. I'm thinking, yeah, okay. They're going to parties and shit. And so, but you know what? And, the news didn't want to talk about that part. No.
Yeah.
And I remember on CNN, they said, "Oh, just a couple of them. A couple of my ass. They're all locked up together. Shit. One of them's got it. Everybody's got it." I know it was such an ignorant thing, but here we are still.
Even if they just had COVID, I mean, what else are they wrapped behind them? Are they coming over here? They're avoiding some sort of legal action against them in their country. They're rapists. They're a serial killer. That's why it's called undocumented, because we don't know anything about this person.
And I agree with Trump. Why do we always have to take the downtrodden? Why don't we get some of the good people?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that we always got to take the scum of earth? Why haven't we? Because in the old days, under Reagan and presidents before him, we used to put out scholarships for people in other countries to come here, get educated.
Their Einsteins and their Teslas,
but for some reason, I guess we don't think we need that anymore. Apparently, we do, but we're ignorant. Oh shit! It's 11:30. We got to get out of here. Sorry, guys, because we don't run over like 28 minutes talking about all sorts of shit tonight. It's Jay McNichols. He co-hosts with Jeffrey. We got him co-hosting with us now. I don't know what happened, Michael. I think he got probed. That's right. He told me he was going squatching tonight.
Oh, was he going squatching?
Yeah, he's got this big parker he puts on. He runs up and down the beach screaming and shit.
Look, Mommy, there's a squatch. No, it's just Michael.
I told him beware because somebody might want to shoot the squatch. You saw, well, there ain't as many guns up here. It's like, no, you sure about that? That's
You
like
gotta
when
be
people tell
careful.
me, well, Canadians don't own guns. I'm like, yeah, they do.
Yes,
I
they
know they
do.
don't. Oh, people in
They
England
drive
don't
down
own
here
guns. I said, no,
to
they own guns too. I
yeah,
said,
they drive down here to America. They buy their guns and they drive back home.
they're like, it's one of them things. Well, yeah, people, they're not supposed to own handguns, but they can own rifles and shotguns and stuff like that. Same
Hunting
thing in
weapons.
England too. If
Yeah,
it's a hunting gun, yeah. It looks like
hunting
New
or
York.
sporting, like
Oh, it
sporting
looks like
plays and whatnot.
it looks like New York's ban on guns are going to get knocked out. So if you need a gun in New York, if you want to carry a gun in New York, it's almost impossible to get one. You got to prove that you're in danger or you carry a large size of cash. See, I could probably get one because a lot of times I'll pay big crews in cash. I have $10,000, $15,000 on me, but I do carry a gun. But so New York said put it really really strict, and when the judge asked, well, how often, she said it's like 1 out of 20 people said. You could just see the whole Supreme Court shook their head. Even the liberals were like, "What? No, what you're doing is illegal, and you can't do
Maryland's
that."
the same way. It's even worse in Maryland. You can't get a concealed carry permit unless you are a business owner that's bringing money to regular night deposit drops after business hours, or if you're a woman who's been either raped or has a domestic violence, protection order against a boyfriend, or if you have a male who's been attacked by a person with a gun and you have a corresponding police report. Those are the only ways you can get a concealed carry permit in the state of Maryland. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's going to get overturned too. They're going over all of those. They're saying no, 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 because they're saying that everyone should have the right to open carry, and concealed carry. Like where I live in the 3 states I live in, where most of the time conceal or open carry you don't need a permit for.
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana wants a concealed permit, but in my case, since I was special forces, I don't have to have one. But I remember I got stopped one time. Cops, I'm taking a check. I said, dude, U.S. Navy Special Forces. I said, you can go check. My guns are registered, and I don't have to have a permit. And he looked at me. I said, you don't have to believe me. You can go check for yourself. He said, I never heard of it. And he gets in the PA, and he said, the guy's Special Forces. He said, he don't have to have a permit. But how do I know? She said, well, you have to go dig up his military courtesy. But if you hold him and you find that he is, you're going to be in a world of shit.
Yeah.
And I got
Damn if
special
you do, damn if you don't.
dispensation. Well, when I got my Class 10 security clearance, I got special dispensation. Technically, I can carry a gun anywhere I want to. It doesn't matter, but I have to go back and get my paperwork, put it in my wallet because, as it is, I open carry a lot of places. But I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. Even though most of the people who see me carrying Martha around are like, man, nice to see you carrying a gun. Nice to see somebody open carry. Nice to see somebody who feels comfortable with their gun. And half the people think I'm a freaking cop anyway. Oh, he's a cop. I flipped the ponytail around. Oh, he's a narc. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever. And when I'm in work clothes, I mean, I'm all crazy looking at work clothes. I look like somebody might. So I'm at the shopping center one time in the mall, and these three ladies walk up so nicely. I feel more protected. And I started laughing. She says, well, I said, as far as you're not going to be Mr. Axe Murderer with the 9mm. And she said, no, I can just tell you're not that kind of person. I'm thinking, well, that's nice of you. But you don't know I could be the killer. You don't know who the hell I am. Don't come walking up with a man with a gun on his side. You don't know what kind of person he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I love one of the justice arguments. Well, what about football stadiums and two guys get in and they start to shoot at it? He said, yeah, that's true. They could do that, but they could just easily pull out a knife and stab each other to death or back over with their truck. And
Which is a lot easier and quieter.
Yeah, the justice is kind of, all right, you made your point. So, it's just what it is, what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, Jay, thanks for hanging out. When y'all can catch Jay, he's on different Fridays, so you have to catch with Jeffrey's schedule to see where he's at. But
I'm on for the next 2 Fridays.
Oh, good. We'll catch him and Brett drag him in here with us. Well, that's just a friendly political discussion. We're just going over mineable stuff. Oh, before I go, so down here, Burger King is now hiring at $16 an hour plus a $500 bonus to sign on. That is so crazy. So, on a construction company. So when we did this bid for this latest job we did, we set our labor at between 18 and 20. These people ain't even working. They want $25 an hour. I'm like, what are you doing? Well, the government's giving us paying our rent and giving us food, giving us food stamps and doing this and that. So I know a couple of these guys who usually work that are getting $2,800 to $3,000 a month from the government. They don't want to go back to work.
Yeah.
And like he said, my only low lady I'm not married to, so she can make money. We got all her money, and I can work under the table. And nobody knows. I'm like, so they're raking it in. So they're getting $3,000 support, and they're probably bringing in another 5 or 6. That's not going to any bills but their car note and themselves. I'm like, that just burns my ass, man. But I can't do it. I don't even like asking for any kind of assistance, man. I even hate to borrow money when I have to. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But I got a little character left and a little self respect left. So
No money, but lots of character.
yes, yes, that's why they say sometimes, yeah, poor. Yeah. Now, anyway, I know what you were trying to say. Jared. So Jared questions why the feds are investigating the alleged theft of Biden's daughter's diary. Why are we after Bo? Or not Bo? What's his name? Hunter? Whatever his name is.
Hunter, yeah,
The corrupt son is that they think's doing money laundering. Why are we looking at him?
because
I
he's the
mean,
president's
if
son.
if this was Trump's kid, they'd be on like white on rice, man. We never get in there. The whole day was a cluster for the Dems battle, destructing the struggle to pass infrastructure. Yeah, y'all realize how weak your party is.
Yeah.
Uh, Bird letter to Pelosi. Hoyer slams 6-hour vote used for political stunts. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Nobody knows what was in this. Nancy's just cramming people. I swear I hate when they do shit like that. So, the United States, as people, we need to pass a new rule. You want to pass a bill, everybody in Congress has to read it. And not only do they have to read it, they have to go through and talk about it. So, like Obamacare would never got past 5,000 pages. Nobody's reading 5,000. This one, I think, is 1,091 pages. I'm not a slow reader. I'm fairly about medium speed reader. Oh, thank you, Connie, about this tie and shirt. Um, 1,100. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1,100 pages. I'll give how kind of fast reader you. It's going to take forever to read.
It's
Plus,
like
there's going to be
reading
all kind of
Ivanhoe.
stuff that you're going to have to go look up that you're not going to understand the meanings of or the way things are. It's just ignorant. I don't know, man. I really hate the way our country is now. It used to be that we now Congress tries to cheat and lie and steal its way through everything. When in the old days they try, but I'll tell you one of the problems, ladies and gentlemen. Congress is almost 80% lawyers now. In the old days, it was doctors and morticians and hardware store owners, business owners. There was a big variety, so people had to invest. And today, lawyers or what? Lawyers, that's what they get paid for, is to fight. So now it's the same thing. Yes, Connie, that's the thing, man. Matter of fact, when I was out in Los Angeles filming, when I was out for Writers of the Future, they were telling the press, because I was talking to a lot of press. Oh, I mean, I was press, but I was talking to a lot of other press. They said, "Oh no, that's his signature thing now." So I guess that's what it is now. My eye doctor said she's going to give me contacts so I don't look crazy. I'm like, whatever. I said, if you give me I want some red ones. And I want some cat looking ones. She's like, what are you
Yeah,
talking
cat
about?
eyes.
I said, when I'm on air, I want to be going, "Meow, what are you doing there, baby?" She's like, he's such a sick bastard. That's like, what can you do? But anyway, we got to go, guys and girls. I want to thank everyone for tuning into United Public Radio and the Centralist. I got Jay McNeil with me and myself. And I don't know what happened, Michael. Michael, I'm telling you, I
Yeah,
think
Michael's out squatching.
if he wasn't squatching, he's being probed by extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
And or maybe it's a prostate exam. I'm not sure. Either way, it doesn't sound
Alien
fun to
prostate
me.
exam.
Yes, aliens have fingers this long, man. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking not so much.
Yeah.
And before anybody asks, 'cause I've seen this the other night, somebody asked me what a prostate exam was. I said, I don't want to give a description on air because it's rude. I said, just look it up. I said,
Yeah.
your doctor tells you to bend over and he puts a glove on his finger, you get worried. He's like, wait, what?
No. If he tells you to bend over and puts gloves on his hands, and then tells you to bend over, and you feel both of his hands on your shoulders, then you can worry.
Yeah, then you get really worried. Run like hell is what I'm saying. Get in bridges and haul ass. But anyway, guys, on that note, we're out here. Thanks again for listening to us all night. Quantum Leap's on right now with Kathy Belsey, so be sure to go check her out. Tomorrow I'll be back. Excuse me. I'll be back from hiatus on the Gray Zone, and Michelle and I have been off for about 4 or 5 weeks for different reasons, but the show re-airs again tomorrow. Remember, I know I've been getting a lot of people bitching at me because you can only catch it when it's live. Until probably December 20th, you won't see any of the archives posted because the archives are by members only. And YouTube won't let us do members only. I think it starts around, well, we can reapply on December 15th. So somewhere between then and January, it'll be back up and running. And y'all can go catch them all. We'll put them all up and you can listen to them. Well, they're great shows and they're a lot of fun. And Michelle and I have a lot of fun. She's a great researcher and there's a lot of material in these shows. But anyway, we got to go. Be sure you go check out Kathy. She's over there being a crazy woman from Hawaii. You know how witches fly on brooms? She flies on crystals. Yet you got these big crystals that fly around. It's like got a jet engine in it and shit. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, we got to go, guys. Again, thanks again for listening, and we will see you tomorrow.